Hello! Hello, welcome everyone. We are live and there's so many people here already. Gosh, I've never had such a lovely lively starting screen. Also lovely. Hello. How's everyone doing today? How are we feeling? How's summer camp going for everyone? I have my sip that matches my shirt. Gray and gray. I hope everyone's having a wonderful, fantastic... For me, it's the start of my weekend, but I know for a lot of people, well, I don't know, I guess for a lot of people it's also evening-ish, afternoon over there. But yes, hello everyone. I see Cedra Hanet, I see Crazy Eddie, Rajar, Kitoipoi, Inquisitor, Mir Cosmo, Nino. Did I already say Crazy Eddie? I'll say it again. Crazy Eddie, the dumb owl. Hello everyone. I'm still working from home, 2 hours left. Yes, working from home is wonderful because you get to just watch things on your own time. Although working in the office has never stopped me from catching a live stream, to be honest, because I'll just pop in my headphones, set my phone over there, and I'll just pretend I'm not doing that. Mochi, hello! Catching up on Article 11 right now. You are killing it, Katoipoi. Oh my gosh. Just the other day you were just like, oh, I just got copper, and now you're just blazing through. But yes, we have a wonderful assortment of articles that we are going to be reading today. We had like 15, maybe, articles last time. I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, like 14 articles. Today we have like 17. So we have a couple more. But yeah, so we have quite the selection to run through today. But I've slotted out an entire 3 hours for today's session, so if all goes well, we will get through everybody, and if anyone has any extras that they want to throw in during the stream, like if you don't have one on the list already, you're welcome to do so, and I will try to get to it also if we still have time at the end. So yeah, where shall we begin? Where indeed shall we begin? Alright. I'm gonna go basically like in prompt order, so in the order that like the prompts represent. Because that's kind of how I have them laid out at the moment. And so we will begin with, when I get my little transition screen, wahoo! All right, we have our first article on board and ready to read. And because I am smart and good at my job, here you go. Here's the link before I start reading. We know I'm so good at this. So yes, this is an article from Neve for the asteroid belt this is for prompt 11. For the unclaimed, lawless region of your world. And this is the asteroid belt. Included locations are the collision course. A diner built in the century-old wreck of a passenger spacecraft. It's iconic and beloved landmark of the asteroid belt, seen at the point where the inner and outer worlds meet. Ooh, very exciting. Let's see, fine cosmic particles drift through the otherwise barren space of the asteroid belt. A mining drone cuts through the dust, leaving astroplankton shimmering in its wake. The asteroid belt belongs to no one, everyone, Mars, Jupiter, and itself, depending on who you ask. It is a unique ecosystem nestled in between Mars and Jupiter, and the boundary between the inner and outer world. The asteroids are far apart, even in the denser clusters. A person standing on any one asteroid in the belt sees nothing but dust and distant stars. Ooh, so she big. She very big. It is home to the majority of known cosmic wildlife. Filter feeders like shrimp subsist on the astroplankton, and in turn they feed schools of bloaters and orbitros. The asteroids themselves house bivalves in the burrowing eel-like ophis. Ooh. So this to me definitely reads like the space equivalent of an ocean, which is very fun. What? The collision course is already so much more clever than my entire submission? No, I doubt that. It is very good, but I'm sure your submissions are also fantastic. I mean, they have been so far, from what I've seen. Yes, unlikely allies. Jupiter and Mars have both staked out territorial claims in the belt and established mining colonies, research centers, and reloading stations. Opposition to these territorial claims are frequently brought before the Alliance of Nations and the Nation Asteroids, only for these petitions to be dismissed. The Alliance of Nations maintains a staunch neutrality, as to not favor one of the two great powers. The Nation Asteroids have found themselves needing to switch tactics. The search for allies on and outside of the Alliance who would recognize them as agents with their own vested interests rather than pawns. The population of the asteroid belt has boomed after the establishment of the colonies. Colonies need workers, and these workers brought their families or established new ones in the belt. These people became known as Belters. Working conditions in the belt are notoriously poor. The jobs in the asteroid belt are dangerous and difficult, and vast distance lends itself to a lack of oversight. Many of the Belters are starting to realize they have more in common with the nation asteroids than they might have originally thought, not just in sharing their new home, but sharing a common enemy. Ooh. And that is it. That is short and sweet, but I'm so interested in what this is. Ooh, I want to explore this place. Like, it just seems so massive and so broad. That's so much fun. Oh, what is happening? Ugh. Spam text. Can't be having that today. But yeah, I got a little bit caught up when it said these people are known as Belters, because one of the ethnicity article that I submitted for SummerCamp is like the Beltsteaders. And so it's it's very fun that we both have like workers in our world that are named after like a belt of some kind. It's just fun. So yeah, this is an awesome article, and I do want to read about the collision course at some point. Just right up there. Ooh. I'll learn more about it later. But yeah, absolutely. Go check this article out. Go give it some love, some likes, some comments if you haven't already. And we've finished an article, so it is time for sip. Yeah, tell me about your lawless regions. Now I can hear you. Oh, you couldn't hear me before? Oh no. What happened? Right, so we don't need to redeem sippies? I mean, you can redeem sippies to give me additional sippies. I will just take one myself. So however many you want to stack, you are able to stack. I have a pirate island called Feral Oyster Island.
Refresh yourselves.
And the sips come rolling in. And more sips.
Refresh yourselves.
Uh-huh. And another sippy.
Refresh yourselves.
You decided on Passwalker instead of Dana? Yeah, I just figure we have so many. We have a lot of character articles that were submitted for this week. So I just kind of wanted to get some diversity in the prompts that we were looking at. Oh, I offer you a sip of Vietnamese coffee? Oh, that sounds so good. I would love that, actually. I had like, this is different, probably, but I had like my first drink of like Thai coffee, and that was like the best thing I ever had in my life. So if it's anything like that, I will be very happy to take with that sip. Yeah, let's see. Oh, Sarukas, you've rolled in at exactly the right moment. What is that website program that you use to compile submissions? It's Notion. It's Notion. Every time I open it up, someone asks me what it is, because I'm always looking at something different. But we have this list, but we also have this these notes that many of you may be familiar with. It's literally on the same page, just a little bit further down. But yeah, I practically live my life on Notion. Yeah, that Notion noise. Yeah, I pretty much live my entire life there. It's where I organize everything that I own. But here you go. We are now reading Heaven's Hand from Sarukus. From the world Etrea. Wonderful. Just, yeah, the moment you showed up to stream, it's your turn. Look at you. But here we go. We have Heaven's Hand. Is this the one that I heard was very sad? No spoilers. Alright, current knowledge. In 5321 EA, astronomers at the Royal Observatory in Cayenne and Vadstemet, thank you for following. Hello. Emmy is so cool, that is true. Astronomers at the Royal Observatory in Cayenne spotted an anomaly in the night sky that had never been recorded before. Dismissed initially as a star, this object seemed to travel slowly across the sky, behavior that had never been observed in stars before. This movement was seen to repeat itself every night for several months, every night getting lower on the horizon before it disappeared. The next year, in 5322 EA, around the same time, it began to be seen again, still following a similar path. Also, why was I not following you? I don't know. It's the same way that I don't follow a lot of worlds on World Anvil that I think are awesome, because I just never thought to hit the little button. It's probably the exact same thing. But 2 years later, members of the Golden Telescope Guild, based at a research center on the coast of the Barren, observed a similar object traversing the sky much later in the year. One of the members had read several papers from the Royal Observatory on their previous observations and hypothesized that it was one and the same. It took 3 more years, and the collaboration of mathematicians and astronomers in multiple countries, but in 5327 EA, it was confirmed that all observations were the same unknown object. It was concluded that this object was stuck in a constant orbit of Etreia, making one rotation about once every 12 hours. Further careful study over the years has unearthed multiple references to this object in history and mythology, spanning across millennia and across the whole world. Not much is known about the object currently, but one of its commonly noted features is its strange shape. It seems to be rather elongated, with sharp angles and what appears to be several constituent parts. It is currently known across Etreias as Heaven's Hand. The truth lost. Home, it's gone dark. Quote from Commander Novely Crow. What is now known as Heaven's Hand was once known as the GRS Hope. Ooh. Oh, a typo. Oh no! Yeah, known across Etreias, I assume is the typo there. Emily, hi! Hello! Yes, GRS stood for Global Research Station. The GRS Hope was one of 3 research stations launched from Etreia in the century before the renewal, the event that wiped all civilization from the planet. It was intended to be the first permanent station in space. The previous 2 were too low in orbit and were predicted to eventually slow down due to gravity, burn up in the atmosphere, and crash to the planet below. The GRS Hope was established in orbit at 12,000 miles from Etreia's surface. 10,000 miles had been calculated for the minimum height for indefinite orbit. Yes, welcome everybody. Each research station was manned by a crew of 6, taken from different countries around the world. The teams were swapped out every 2 years. Data was transmitted back to Etreia on a whole number of different topics, such as how different plants grew, how the researchers' vital signs differed compared to those on the surface, the effects of low or absent gravity, and the effect of long-term space living. Many of these experiments were in preparation for manned missions to other planets, in the celestial spiral, and beyond. The music is at such odds with what I know is coming. Oh no. It's to keep the hype going. When the renewal happened, those aboard the 3 research stations watched helplessly as Etreia suddenly went dark. All the lights they used to light up the night suddenly snuffed out. They called for information, but all that came across their communications was static. They tried to contact the other research stations and, thankfully, made contact. Whatever had happened on the surface, it had not cut them off from the others. Stranded in space, with no way to communicate with Etreia or to know what happened, all the team of the GRS Hope could do was make the best of it. This happened only a month after teams had been switched, so they had 2 years of supplies aboard the station with them. With proper rationing, they were able to make them last about for 4. The other research stations were not so lucky. The communication that at first seemed to be a blessing turned out to be a curse. The crew of the GRS Dauntless had only enough supplies left to last them a month. From the beginning, they were constantly begging for help, trying to find a way to ferry supplies between the stations. When all that proved impossible, their communications began to get less frequent but more disturbing. Eventually, after about 3 months, the GRS Dauntless made its final communication and fell silent. The crew of the GRS Intrepid were different. They had supplies to last them about a year, and from the beginning they were chipper and optimistic. Communication from the Intrepid kept the crew of the GRS going in that first dark year. Eventually, though, the crew of the Intrepid made their final communication a definite goodbye, and then they too fell silent. About 3 years after the renewal, the crew of the GRS Hope watched as the GRS Intrepid burned up in the atmosphere and fell to the planet below. About 4.5 years after the renewal, the GRS Hope fell silent as well. The GRS Dauntless crashed to the surface less than 100 years after the renewal. its wreckage, and the wreckage of the GRS Intrepid has not yet been discovered to this day, though it is out there. I think the music lined up pretty well with that one at the end. Yeah, that is in fact the saddest thing I've ever read. I know I'm laughing, but that's just my coping mechanism for the sads that are taking over. Yeah, Emmy is a fantastic writer. I'd love to see this. Just gonna share this link again, just in case anyone missed it or anyone new rolled in. Yes, wonderful, wonderful article, and very cool. And it's... Wait till I revamp this with quotes and stuff. Oh gosh, you're gonna break my heart a second time, aren't you? Oh. I don't know if it's sadder that it happened, or if it's sadder that just everyone sees this thing flying around and they have no idea what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this is an absolute tragedy just orbiting their world, and they have no idea what the truth of it was. Oh, horror in slow motion for the crew. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're literally hearing the people that you're in communication with, like, starve and die around you, knowing that eventually that's gonna be you. You know? That's, very, very not good. But very good writing. And let's see. We took our post-article sippy. And not knowing what happened to the planet, never knowing. True. So both parties just have no idea what happened to each other. So that's just, oh, that is me. That is you. We are moving on to Crazy Eddie. Link, please. I was getting there. I promise you I didn't forget. So yes, we have The Past Walker from Crazy Eddie. So let's see. Ooh, we have different careers. Different careers for past walkers. That's so fun. So it's a profession with multiple different career paths. That's a lot of fun. Let's see. The job of a past walker can be described as a career with manifold opportunities. Some call them grave robber, some lonesome people, some hermits, some other too large children with toys. They are all of this and more. A past walker digs, researches, claws and hungers for more knowledge, which he brings to the places of learning scattered all over Korea. Most of them are the people who discover more and more of long times past, or times long past, be it old tomes, tombs, relics of old, weapons, or just the king's favorite spoon. I like that. A little king's favorite spoon is like a little relic of the past. Let's see, different careers, since this is abounding with opportunity. You can be a relic master. You can be an expert in family research. You can go into experimental preservation. You can be a master of culture, a dig site expert, a council member, a professor of their expertise, a freelancer, or a history consultant. And this is in the field of research and science. Very fun. How to enter? It depends entirely on the institution which one wants to join, but there are some basic things one needs to have, like math, reading, and writing, at least one's own language, preferably that in common as well for trading. To get into an institution, it can be possible that one needs to pass a basic test, which also includes a fee. The amount one has to pay varies from institution to institution, so some can be more expensive than others. If I had to choose, I think I'd prefer experimental preservation. Ooh. Oh, you know, that's a good point. Which one would I pick if I had to choose one? Why is that? True. Oh, let's see. I don't know. Relic Master sounds like... Relic Master honestly sounds like the thing that I would want to be, because I have a history of working in galleries and museums, and so part of that makes me feel like I would want to work with all of the relics, and I would want to store them and archive them, and just be the master of these things. So I feel like if this was my career, I would choose to be a relic master. Assuming that's what they do. I would love to be guided by you through museums and stuff and listen to you. Oh, that'd be so much fun. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I've worked in a couple galleries. I've worked in not a couple museums. I worked in one museum. It was a ceramics museum, Very small, very cool, but because it was so small, I got to, like really interact with like the visitors and the work and stuff, and it was really fun. And I got to go like dive into the archives a little bit with the like the curator of the museum, and it was really cool. So I have touched some very old pottery. It was a lot of fun. Yes, let's see. If one has passed the test and paid the fee, not necessarily in this order, everything else is mostly provided by the Institute. That includes the first set of quills, inkwells, robes, parchment, and the first round of books. The rest of the books should be in the library. If one has passed everything, one is in the state before the Passwalker. Most of them are called amateurs, but there is the unofficial title of Passwalker. You only watch, you do not do anything by yourself. Nino, thank you for the Prime sub. When did this run out? Monthly subs just kind of run out sometimes. But yeah, thank you for your second month, I appreciate it very much.
Refresh
Oh,
yourselves.
and the sippy. Mid-article sippy. Woohoo. Why, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna be reading articles for like 3 hours, so we gotta stay hydrated. We gotta stay on top of things. Education. The training for a past walker depends on the institute, ranges from 5 intense years to more chilled 10 years. The education varies a bit depending on the region the institute is located. One has to learn specific excavation methods, get to know tools, expanded knowledge on languages, Dwarvish, Elvish, the most common clan dialects of the Dragon Sun Empire, the basic eternal runes, mathematics, various cultures and customs around Korea, etiquette at court, chemistry, and alchemy to cover the basics. Career opportunities. Most of the past walkers stay a past walker their entire life. That is because a gross of them enjoys being abroad in the wilderness or being alone in a small team, digging into earth, exploring lost settlements or ruins. Some of them advance into experts in their field of knowledge, like Gavin for the capital of the Longardir, the city of Uldrir. Then it really depends on your skills, the need for a specific career/person, and the opportunity. One can choose to be an expert on old runic, relics, dragons, Dragon Sun Empire, Northern Realms, or some niche stuff like how the world was created and how old she is. Some ascend into politics or panels to negotiate fundings, allowances, or a release for the specific dig site or interested areas. Some past walkers choose to teach. They are professors, expert in their field, consultants for nobility, interested people, and sometimes even royalty. Some freelancers, see below, are getting contracted by a family just for their business and thirst for knowledge. Some even found smaller schools to teach or to help their institute or other institutes to share their workload. And the payment, of course. So we have section freelancer or not. The business of a freelance past walker is a bit different than the business of a contracted past walker by an institute. They have to negotiate their own, even their rates, negotiate contracts with cities. Oh, I just knocked something over on my desk. Negotiate contracts with cities, villages, nations in general. They have to search for possible dig sites, search for knowledge on their own, and have to rely on others. They also have to contract helping workers, if needed, and need to look after their payments. The most important difference in being a freelancer is that one can decide on one's own what to do, what to learn, who to work for, if any, even their own rates if they want to get paid. A freelance past walker can get contracted by anyone who is willing to pay for their services. Some older families, mostly nobility, hire past walkers to dig into their past to find stuff. Mostly riches, older names, real estate certificates, or whatever they want. That sometimes advances into detective work, but this is covered by the contract. If one is employed by an institute, like the University of Hulwar, they do not have to think about such small details. They just arrive, get to work, complete their task, and move on. Payment, working hours, resources are negotiated by the institute. But you can't really choose which work you are doing. Oh, missing a bracket? Oh yes, true. But you can't really choose which work you are doing. The institute uses you as a resource. But if you specialize in a field, it can be you only do work in your field, but that is often not the case. Past walkers are rare, and good past walkers even more so. For possible contractors, if you want to contract a past walker, you can ask an institute and let them calculate the price. Then you can take the same amount and multiply it by at least 5 for a freelancer. You can get real experts in every field. Sometimes they are worth the price. Most of the freelance past walkers write 1 or 2 books in their life. Try to read one of them and decide if they are worthy to get your gold. Now we have the tools and tasks. Woohoo, we got some art here. The tools are decided on the task at hand. Normally a past walker has a set of digging tools, including small hammers, ropes, coal pen, parchment, cheap paper, a book, or scrolls. Some are armed with 1 or 2 daggers, because roads are dangerous, and you will want to cut your bread, cheese, or meat. And some with magical scrolls and other fire and forge tools. Tools of a past walker at camp, and the travel tools of a past walker. Very fun. Let's see if we can just have a little look-see. I love looking at images that are just like of like tables and workbenches and stuff. It tickles my fancy, you know what I mean? But now we have some tales of old. Plink, 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 plock, ouch. Past walker in training. It's a cute quote. Say what now? I said, when you contract me, you can either pay for my room in the inn or I live with you. I need a desk, a bed sized for me, and access to all of your stuff. Gold, relics, library, old maps, family books, heirlooms, whatever's tied to the history of your family. Even the long-lost aunt of your sister's cat can be important. If one of your ancestors, or even you, had an affair which spawned a child, I need everything. Even when you put it on a small note. And then you can depict the entire family tree? With a high probability, yes. And what if you find someone who's my successor instead of my firstborn? Then I will tell you. No, I meant, what should I do then? That is your choice. I'm a past walker, not a politician. Said a past walker to a rich and dubious client. That is dark. Yep. And deep. Yep. Are you not afraid? Of what? The dark? What, fear of the dark? Never. Teacher and his apprentice in a deep ruined mine. Hoo-hoo. Do love the little fear of the dark. And so, honored council, I came to the conclusion, and I think you might be with me on this topic, that a joint dig site would not only benefit our 3 prestige institutes of knowledge, no, it would benefit our lands in the future we want to achieve. We could not only learn for ourselves. Iron Maiden's now stuck in our head, yeah. We could not only learn for ourselves, but for everyone and about ourselves. Who we were, who we are, and who we want to be. Be it elves, humans, dwarves, underlings, or dragonborn, and everyone in between. Even Garladins, if they want and let us. So, I lay my faith in your capable hands that you might see the benefits, and our possible future, in your concentrated wisdom. Thank you for listening, and for your time. A senior past walker on the topic of a large excavation site. And there we go. That is the completion of the article. Thank you for another wonderful read, Eddie. I will share the little link again. Those are awesome, heck yeah. So yes, beautiful. Yeah, Crazy Eddie makes some excellent articles. No, thank you for reading it. Thank you for submitting it. We can just go back and forth with this forever. So yes, everyone, go give these articles like an extra read through yourself. Go drop some likes, some comments if you're feeling it. Magician Pianist, hello, welcome. Let's see who is next on our list. Aha! Our next victim is Nino. With the razor-toothed giant. Ooh. Oh no. There's no oh no in this chat, there is only oh yes, another article to read. Me doing good articles? You can call me Tomato Eddie, because my head is red as one. Oh no. Alright, I take my little sips, because we finished our article. Oh, beautiful. And here we go. Little linky link for everybody, for this is the article we are about to go check out. Feel free to read along or just listen. Yes, we have the Razor-Toothed Giant. Brief history of the Dragon Wars and the survivors. In the far distant past, when the Elder Mages first began carving out their empires, they advanced rapidly, making good use of their superior understanding of magic. When they encountered the dragons, however, they ran into an issue. Dragons, being innately magical, could not only match them in the area of expertise, but also could not be overcome by the force their armies could muster. It seemed that for the first time, the Magocracy had met their match. What these dragons, however, had underestimated was the lengths the humans would go just to win this fight. Arcanogenetics. Woohoo. Sources differ on which basis the Elder Mages used to create these giants. Most commonly, people assume it must have been dwarves, both for the accidental irony and because of the stocky, wide build the giants have. In truth, however, their build results from an increased need of stability and durability of bones and limbs as the body increases in height and mass. Scholars refute the dwarf theory for another reason, though. Unlike dwarves, giants have a good genetic compatibility with humans, with hybrid offspring sometimes being able to reproduce themselves. Oh no, my mid-journey ran out of hours until next month. Oh. Yeah, I think I remember last year during summer camp I had that exact issue. I was trying to make stuff and like, oh, nope, you have been blocked. You have been stopped. Unless you want to pay us more money. But yeah, the little draft mode thingy on this is excellent. I want to do something more involved like this to say like, okay, yes, here's article. It is written and posted, but it is not even close to being done. I like a little bit something similar, just like says that in words. But you have like a little check mark and everything, so that's fun. Here we go. It is therefore the most believed theory that first giants were in fact human volunteers who were altered either by selective breeding with magical influence or by transformative spells until they became towering monsters that they needed to be for their tasks. The giants were wrath incarnate and specifically bred to fight dragons. Their strength was superior to the dragons and also enabled them to use giant bows that were capable of striking the fire breathers out of the sky. Curiously, the mages forewent giving the giants any resistance to fire or heat, instead focusing on increasing their body's regenerative properties as well as resistance to spells. This last modification would prove to be a mistake, as things like this often tend to be. We love seeing, oopsie, the consequences of our actions. So, fire and disaster. At the first advent of the giants, proved to be very effective at furthering the Elder Mage's goals. The giants had an almost instinctual hatred for the dragons, and could effectively be released in the vicinity of dragon lairs and then left to their own devices. Eventually, however, the hatred of the giants expanded from their destined foe to their keepers as well. In the giant revolt of the Spellbound Valley, for the first but not the last time, the giants rebelled against their masters, and some could break their chains and escape into the wild. The increase in aggressiveness bred into the giants turned them into unpredictable terrors, and taking care of them became more dangerous than the dragons they were supposed to fight. And because of their innate resistance to magic, the giants were almost impossible to reclaim once they had escaped their bonds. After a while, when the last dragon on Noria had been slain, the mages now faced a new problem, because the giants were still there, including the wild ones outside their direct control. Woohoo. Yeah, so we have some serious consequences for our actions. You ever just solve a problem by making a new problem and then the new problem becomes the bigger problem? Here you go. There it is. This has got some consequence. There we go. After the mages. In cruel irony, the mages were, however, spared the dealings of this particular problem. The mages had overstepped their place, and for the first and last time in history, Tai-San intervened in an event the orcs only call Tai-San's Wrath. When it was done, the mages were no more. Their kingdoms were razed and survivors scattered across the lands. The orc god had even taken their memory so that they could never reclaim the splendor they once commanded. Read more about this event under Leander's report number 3 of Tebla the Boar. The giants, however, were not unchecked, and it quickly became apparent that their life form, while incredibly effective as part of the mage's war machine, was not sustainable in the slightest. The immense aggressiveness, paired with the giant need for space and nutrient to sustain their bodies, meant they simply could not coexist with other apex predators. And while the newborn humans were less a threat to their existence, the other sapient species were still around and ready to deal with the problem. As a result, the giants underwent a dramatic change. There's an old lady who swallowed a fly. Ooh. Humans are very good at that. Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions in my world. Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, current status. Because of the incredibly disadvantageous combination of size and aggressiveness, the giants needed to change fast, which exerted an external pressure like so. More aggressive giants were likely to quickly get into conflict with other species, which eventually ended in the death of the giant. Less aggressive giants had better chances, and as a result, they passed their genes more easily. After tens of millennia, this trend had transformed the species. Giants no longer held any of their original aggression, instead becoming gentle monsters that preferred to avoid confrontation. As a result, the giants were pushed into the mountain ranges of the Razor-Tooth Mountains. There they live to this day, leading simple lives of farmers and gatherers. They avoid smaller folk that don't enter their ranges and have a general unspoken understanding with the orcs about who should use which territories. And so another monster joins the ensemble of dangers on Noria, but fortunately, this one is very unlikely to harm you intentionally, even if you end up trespassing in their faraway domain. Oh, wonderful. So we have a little happy ending. The giants get to live nice, calm lives now because now they're chill and they're cool now. It's a kid's song. She keeps swallowing bigger and bigger animals to deal with the latest thing she swallowed with the thing she swallowed before that. Wait, okay, now I remember. I was a little bit lost when you first said it. I'm like, that's interesting. But no, yeah, I actually remember that song now. But here we go. There's that link for everyone once again. So we finish this article, have a little sip. Today's sippy of the day is a little raspberry tea. Very yummy. I couldn't bring myself to give the poor giants a sad ending, unlike the Majocracy. Well, listen, they're the ones who put the giants there. They made the problem themselves. They can deal with the problem themselves. And in fact, they were dealt with, much like the problem itself. But alright, who is next? Solar Cat. Ooh. At this time. I like that these articles right now are lining up with exactly who happens to be in the chat right now. So yes, we have a Vazdamet article on our hands right now. Yay! So here's a little link for everybody. Line, I will write the plant and cuisine today. Chronomancer's favorite. And you know what? For the humans, it tastes and looks like chocolate pudding. Ooh. With a bit of stuff in it. Oh. Seems yummy. Looks, not lux. It is lucky that it looks like pudding. I'll need to do more writing to actually be able to send you one next week. Well, you have all of next week to make yourself a little gold article.
Refresh yourselves.
The sippy before we start. Oh. And someone outside is now deciding to mow the grass, it seems like. So I hope that the sound does not come through my window very, very audibly as they, like, pass by or anything. I know usually, like, my AC doesn't set off my microphone, but I don't know, that might, maybe, theoretically. Yeah, it's like, it's still in the distance, but I hear it, like, I hear they started up, so it could come by this direction, but I don't know. It was a lot louder earlier before I started streaming. I'm like, they better not be mowing underneath my window as I'm doing this today. Yeah, but yes, for anyone who would like to be part of next week's Feral Friday, I will be taking any of your gold articles that you've written throughout that week, or, you know, like your favorite of the bunch, and I'll be reading those. So after prompts drop tomorrow, if you have a favorite before next Friday, send them to me. Send them to me, your gold article of the week. Yeah, I'm very excited for gold. I'm very, you know, like, I'm gonna be around tomorrow on stream to start brainstorming, like, right after the gold articles drop, after the gold prompts drop, I mean. But I won't be around for the diamond release, which is so sad. I'm very sad, but it's okay. It's, I'm gonna be away for, like, a little pre-planned trip. That one also includes your prompt, right? Yes. I am a sponsor for one of our gold prompts, so I'm excited to hear what my prompt is. But yeah, so because I'm a sponsor for gold, I'm, like, a little bit okay with missing the diamond release, because at least I'm not missing the one where I'm a sponsor for, you know what I mean? But yeah, I will not be able to catch the immediate release. But it's the reason that next week I will not be doing Friday, Saturday, not Friday. I won't be doing Saturday, Sunday stream next week. And then the week after that also, I will not be doing Saturday, Sunday, because I will be away. Although that second weekend that I'm not going to be streaming, it's because I'm going to be hanging out in NYC for the World Anvil picnic. Summer camp picnic. Very fun. Listened in from a diner in upstate New York to hear the prompt I sponsored. Heck yeah. That was too confusing. Oh no. But yeah, so let's get into this article, shall we? We have Ada Links. Ada is our world expert on agrokinesis and alchemy. She can diagnose plant diseases and parasites at a glance and identify potential lists of plants' medicinal properties just by smell. BRB buying plane ticket to NYC? Oh no. Listen, the more the merrier. Last year's gathering in New York City was very small, so we need to get some more Anvilice in here. If you'd like to learn more about the healing side of plants, she's a great teacher. Her last apprentice moved on to focus more on healing magic and chemistry, so she's seeking a new student. She claims her fieldwork is best done at dawn, when the plants are first awakening to greet the day. So she works best with morning people. She does provide breakfast. Urla providing a list of potential agrokinesis tutors. Very fun. These are skills that I wish I had. I want to be able to, like, commune with the plants and know what they do. Originally hailing from Ilia, an oceanic freehold planet on relatively friendly terms with the Moderna mercenaries, Ada's desire for scientific adventure brought her to Yannick Station, and eventually Yannick herself. She's now known as one of the best botanical explorers on the planet, constantly questing for new and unusual alchemical reagents to further the Yanadale medicine. Ooh. Always eager to give back to the community that took a chance on her, she's constantly accompanied by at least one apprentice, and often several. All she requires is a passion for learning and a willingness to wake up early. Yeah, go be a morning person and learn about plants. Mental characteristics, her personal history. Ada is the youngest of 8 children, with 5 brothers and 2 sisters. Her father, a prominent member of Ilia's storm chasers, served as primary shielding mage on a stormbreaker, employing 5 of her other siblings. Ooh. Plant magic, yes, indeed. Disaster. When she was 5, her oldest sister was swept away by a wave during a particularly violent storm on the Endless Sea. Unable to cope with the thought of losing another child and blaming her husband for both the tragedy and the dangerous profession followed by her adult children, Ada's mother filed for divorce and relocated herself and her 3 youngest children to the planetary capital of Iliana the next time her father's ship left for port. Iliana. Ada spent her childhood roaming the shores of the capital with her 2 youngest brothers, picking up pretty shells and other gifts from the ocean to craft into baubles for the tourists that frequented the shores and restaurants of her new home. While she missed her father and oldest siblings, they'd spent months away from home before, on their many expeditions, and their mother often reassured her this was her turn to have an adventure while they sailed. And so she spent the years waiting and exploring and scanning the endless sea for signs of their return, long after she forgot the sounds of their voices or the rough scrape of her father's fingers against her cheek. Mother's decline. As Ada grew to adulthood, she watched her mother retreat into a shell of herself. When her youngest brother decided to join the storm chasers when he came of age, hoping to find their father and siblings or what had become of them, her mother gathered her 2 remaining children and made them promise to never sail the sea. When her youngest brother attempted to appease her by instead accepting a job gathering salt caps from the many rows of restaurants lining the edges of the spaceport, Ada watched again as her mother collapsed from grief at his proximity to the sea, holding her close and demanding she stay away from the water. But Ada had inherited her father's wandering heart and her brother's desire for adventure. As she watched her youngest brother's smile fade at the long hours spent in the dark caverns where salt mushrooms thrived, she swore she'd never allow her mother's fear to clip her own hunger and for exploration and knowledge of the unknown. Escape. This proved more difficult than she'd anticipated. Her mother, desperate to protect her youngest child, kept a closer eye on Ada than ever before. Unable to experience even the small modicum of freedom she'd enjoyed since her move to Iliana, Ada felt her own joy fade, much like she'd watched her mothers and brothers disappear all those years before. Desperate to escape and retain her own adventurous spirit, Ada snuck away one night when her mother was sleeping.
Refresh yourselves.
Using her entire savings, a modest amount of credits lavished upon her by her brothers throughout the years, to book one-way passage on a small portal hopper leaving that very night. Ah, sippy after that sentence. She never looked back. Employment. She landed on Yannick Station, attempting to justify her presence on a fully booked space station with no reservations, no papers, no luggage, and no credits, to attempt to buy her way into the good graces of the Moderna mercenaries running the station. Ada found it exhilarating. After spending most of the day bouncing between countless administrators with a variety of temperaments ranging from boredom to incredulity to outright frustration, Ada finally caught the attention of a young healer in training looking for one of the station's medical guests. She offered to share her bunk in exchange for assistance with the more menial tasks required to keep the med lab operating efficiently. Ada quickly accepted, and her universe changed forever. The Yannick Station Med Lab. Originally tasked to help sanitize and organize Med Lab, Ada was quickly drawn to the strange plants and other alchemical reagents, stocking the cabinets she maintained daily, asking often about their varied uses and effects. She began spending her free time wandering the primary hydroponics bay, studying each plant even as she studied the planet below. She researched all she could about Yannick, the enticing and forbidden wilderness inhabited by her surprisingly patient and generous hosts, which wasn't much considering how little they, which wasn't much considering how little they permitted outsiders to know about their home, or how infrequently the planet had allowed explorers to survive prior to the mercenaries' claim on Yannick. And yet, each dead end and dead explorer merely fueled her desire. She'd just have to explore it herself, and peel away its botanical secrets one by one. We love a lady with a mission. Joining the Moderna. After 7 months working to earn her keep on the station, gleaning what she could about the lives and homeworld of her Moderna co-workers, Ada gathered her courage and asked the question that had been burning in her thoughts since shortly after her arrival. What would it take for her to join them? Braced for rejection, or worse yet, insistence she leave the station and never return, Ada was instead gifted a question in return. Why had she taken so long to ask? Greeted with open arms and open hearts, it wasn't long before Ada took the Yukonit to nail, eternally joining herself to the Teneknab of the brutal and mysterious planet below, and earning the right to uncover her secrets. And finally, for the first time since she waved her last farewell to her father at the tender age of 5, Ada was free to follow the calling of her adventurous heart. Finally, she found where she belonged. Yay! I'm happy for her. I'm so glad that she got to live her best life. Sorry for the conlang words, it's okay. It's fine. I hope I pronounced that even, like, halfway close to correctly. I tried my best. And here's a link to the article that we have just read. Here you go. Please do leave some likes and comments. Yeah, I'm someone who wants to do conlang things at some point, and so eventually, yes, I am going to be throwing interesting words at people. Try to make them at least straightforward to guess at. Yeah. I hope we get at least one language prompt in the diamond prompts. Low-key, me too, but I also don't know which way I would go in regards to, like, what language I would do and, you know, how I would organize all of that. Now, Moorjack is fun but lazy conlang. Listen, it doesn't always have to be complicated. But I'll take my post-article sippy, and we shall continue on to who is next. Who's next on our list? Da, 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 da. There we go, an article from Nimin. Anais Isawad. Or Anias. It's literally words backwards and then tweaked for pronunciation and cool factor. Oh. I see. Okay, viewer discretion is advised. This article is about an in-universe serial killer and contains mention of murder, gore, and cannibalism. If we do not like these things, I would maybe turn down the volume until it is time for the next article. But as I myself am unshaken by such topics, we will carry forward. I'll just toss that into the chat as well for anyone who is just kind of like, I don't know, following along, reading just with the chat. But yes, good shout outs for anyone who's putting viewer discretion warnings on their like more concerning topic articles. Pretty cool, but look at, I love what we got going on over here with like the art and the, ooh. It's very, very ominous. Absolutely love Newman's World. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen very much of it, like, you know, just in the past in general, but this is my second article that I'm, you know, reading on stream of theirs, and like, ooh, I love the first one, and so the second one, I assume is going to be also excellent. So yeah, sealed identity record, property of the German BNSC archives, Beckensall. Read everything from this world. It's so good. I love the design of this world, just the way it looks. So cool. I love like all the lines and everything in this, and like, you know, how the borders work. It's just, it's fun. It's fun. It's nice to look at. Anyway. I'm doing that as well. Hide stuff behind subscriber groups without cutting too much detail out of it, so the essence is still covered, but more gory, explicit stuff isn't coming in the way. Very good. There we go. The being/individual described in this document has been determined to be an Oyetsub, a predatory species of uncertain origin specialized on mimicking and hunting other sapient species, of considerable age and experience. They are suspected of establishing at least 3 different hunting grounds on the world of Beckensall in the span of 45 years. During this time span, they have allegedly stolen the identity of several citizens, with the last known on record being the convicted and executed serial killer, Anias Isawad. Please observe that the data on this file is still of questionable objectivity and accuracy due to being compiled from a mix of resources such as eyewitness accounts, official observations, and recorded events. Its purpose is the pooling data on individual as investigations into their nature and their connection to case JBNSC Biger 03 continues. Due to an increasing amount of evidence pointing towards the individual not being exclusively active on Beckensall, it is under review to have this record disconnected from the ongoing case and escalated to higher instances within the United Worlds. Ooh, so this is getting serious. We have a little portrait here. That's very fun. So we have our background here. Very little is known about the origin and background of the individual detailed in this file. It was originally thought that they had hailed from and were only operating on the world of Beckensall. Recent communications with representatives of the security institutions of Shankery and Balmoral suggest this individual may be itinerant. The pattern so far discerned consists of staying in one region or world for 2 to 5 years before either moving to a new region or an adjacent world if their actions accrued too much attention. Vandesmeer, Tirun, and Vuller and Vietnamo have yet to respond to the inquiry, but it'd be safe to assume the individual would have periodically settled on either or all of these worlds as well. Some question the possibility for all presented cases to be dealing with the same individual, or iterations thereof, theorizing that we are dealing with copynins instead. Most of the skepticism no doubt stem from the fact that, if it's the same individual, they would be close to 3 centuries old. So this has been going on for quite some time. Let's see, we have this little map here, little interconnected points, so we know how to orient ourselves. Like connecting the dots. And now, Shankery. One district security department on Shankery reported holding an archived case file dated 255 years ago that contains striking similarities with the Beckensall Avernon case, Thief of 100 Faces from 23 years ago. The criminal, Lachlan Chorus, was caught and convicted after a 5-year-long hunt. By then, they had murdered, mutilated, and or cannibalized at least 47 victims. Very prolific. It was noted that DNA matching was the single possible method for identification. There's several of you dying every day simply from tripping over security railings and ending up colorful paste somewhere in the bottom sectors. That doesn't upset you? But you're upset about me hunting a single one of you every 2 months? Considering your birth rates, it's not like your population is dwindling because of what I've done. I don't really see the problem. from an interview with convict Lachlan Chorus. He's a pretty cool guy, what can I say? They're pretty cool. Love that quote, yeah. So I don't really see the problem. Damn, okay. There's also a much more recent case dated 10 years ago, where another region in Shankari discovered a total of 21 victims over the span of 3 years. Again, the modus operandi was strikingly similar, but the main suspect at the time, Lon Blaze, avoided arrest and vanished. His remains were later found and recovered in the lower sectors of the region, along with what was assumed to be his last victim. Cause of death was recorded as unresolved. And now Balmoral. An instance of Balmoral's regional countryside law office responded to the inquiry by providing some details of a case dated 79 years ago. It appears that, over the course of 12 years, Ricoster de Galkner was sought across numerous states and cities before finally being caught within his office's county. Additional victims kept being found even after his execution, ending at a total of 112 counted murders. Dude just keeps hitting. Beckinsale. On Beckinsale, there are at least 3 cases that are suspected to deal with the same individual, based primarily off of similarity in modus operandi. Busy man, yeah, true. Assuming it is indeed the exact same person, pronouns are they, them. Just in time for non-binary month, or not, it's only the day. We can take the whole month. That's fine. So yeah, they be killing. Let's see. Where did I go? Alright, search the JNBC archives results in a 45-year-old case that is very similar to the recent Elsvale Ghoul case. A total of 14 victims was attributed to the Giacomo Rixi Snove, all found within the city of Ostos. They were never apprehended, listed as being found shortly after the discovery of the 14th victim. Cause of death listed as unresolved. We will just take the whole year. The whole year is ours now. Yes, the whole year has been taken for the non-binaries. We own this year now. Take it. Okay, thank you. The rest can have leap days as a treat. Yeah, there you go. You guys get like a day every 4 years. There we go. They were never apprehended, listed as being found dead shortly after the discovery of the 14th victim. Cause of death listed as unresolved. But me is still allowed here? Everyone is still allowed here. It's just not your year, you know what I mean? It's for us. That's just all it means. But you can still be here. The most famous case was dubbed the Thief of 100 Faces in planetary media and gave rise to the widespread fear, as well as led to the ongoing JNBC investigation into several security officials' related institutions. The first victim of Anias Issaouad was found brutally mutilated and cannibalized in their apartment 23 years ago. For 2 years, a total of 52 citizens fell to the serial killer, while the world security forces struggled to catch them. A number of security officers interviewed in relation to the current investigation have all similarly said this was majorly due to contradictory witness statements, making identification of the criminal extremely difficult. It appears that the current general director, Palian Desic, had also acted strangely and made a number of questionable decisions, as well as involving an unknown outside party. It has come to light that Palian Desic delayed the execution of the criminal once convicted for a rather significant amount of time. The most recent case was similarly highlighted with its own moniker, the Elsvale Ghoul, though appear to have largely been isolated to local media. The first victim was found 2 years ago, and the 9th only 4 months ago. Shortly after the 9th murder, the district's director, Elgin Graffiner, unexpectedly signed for retirement and vanished shortly after. As no more victims have been found since then, there's an ongoing investigation whether the 2 events are related. Oh. No, it's not even my century, so it's fine. We'll find a century for you. We'll find it from somewhere. See, you've got the current whereabouts. If assuming the last missing person and the sudden long-term silence of the Elsvale Ghoul are related, it is possible that the individual may be undergoing a new process of replication. Following the emerging pattern found upon examining evidence here on Beckinsale, and the information that so far had been shared with nearby worlds, there's a chance that the individual is looking to leave the planet in search of new, fresh hunting grounds elsewhere. And let's see what's all in this sidebar here. So we have status is presumed alive. We have all of the known iterations, the people that we've all talked about. So Uyatsub is a species. 192 cm, 69 kilograms. Presents as a man, pronouns they, them. Cross-dominant as far as hands. Has some conditions. Primary psychopathy, congenital analgesia. Occupation, societal parasite. That's a goal. That sounds like a goal right there. But also serial killer. Less of a goal, but still pretty cool. Known languages: Von, Alkili, Fosutari, Ikarik, and Kufosi. Unknown current residents. And previous residences include 3 different cities in Beckinsale. On replication. During the final weeks before their scheduled execution, the individual began to interchangeably refer to themselves in both first and third person in increasing frequency. While it could be easily overlooked in casual conversation, the re-examination of recordings in tandem with Dr. Blonde's notes made the fact a lot more obvious. You forced my hand, the way you insist on disrupting my life. Did you kill her? Why would I do that? I need her. You will tell us where she is. I don't think you understand. This conversation is amusing, but ultimately pointless. All I can do is try not to die prematurely out of boredom in here. All you can do is hope that I don't remember you. What do you mean? I don't like having my life disruptive, and I tend to be vindictive. Is that a threat? Maybe, but I can't really speak for me anymore. Last recorded conversation between Anias and G.D. Peliandesic. This particular piece of recording attached above is what it believed to be former General Director Peliandesic was referring to in the recording detailed JBNSC Biger 03A1. It is not clear what exactly replication entails, or why the involvement of a victim is a key part in this process, but it is currently assumed to mean the individual is capable of some sort of self-cloning. Good use of sidebar. Taking notes, heck yeah. Adding some interesting quotes. Mood? Oh no. What is this? What is this clip? We're just gonna pop it open right now and see. That's a goal. Less of a goal, but still pretty cool. True. There you go. But yeah, I'm just societal parasite, maybe. Serial killer, probably not, but it's an option.
Refresh yourselves.
Why, thank you. And so we have physical characteristics as well. Too late. It's already clipped. Formalizing an official description in the individual has proven close to pointless, as accounts given by both witness and different officials conflict with each other. Below is a set of traits that so far seem in unison for every iteration discovered so far. The individual predominantly appears of the European species, with the iteration Anias Isawad being the sole exception of a rare European Lusoyan hybrid. The individual always presents as male, but acts as pansexual pangender. The individual is always of an appearance that is perceived as handsome and appealing by the culture they're currently within. The individual is always wearing outfits considered fashionable in the region they're currently in, often giving an impression of some wealth and status. I can't stop thinking about those eyes. Intense, deep eyes that captivate and draw you in, you know? You just want to drown in them. He wore such a disarmingly warm, charming smile. He was so genuine, so nice to me. Description given by a still-smitten survivor. We have our mental characteristics, morals. The illusion of a functional moral compass is abundantly utilized as a tool. It is not unexpected that they deduce that a friendly approach typically generates better, more useful, and convenient responses than a callous attitude. Blending in with the social group they've chosen to nest among is perceived as both necessary for survival and a source of entertainment. Still, it's clear they feel neither guilt nor remorse for hurting others, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, would be perceived as necessary to achieve their goals. Anyone is fair game to the calculated ruthlessness, and there's no hesitation to lie, deceive, or manipulate. Motivation. The final summary provided by the doctor described the individual as a calculating, unemphatic, self-centered predator of high intelligence. Their primary motivation is the preservation and continuation of the self, followed closely by what they themselves discovered as fighting a pervasive sense of boredom. They appear to not derive a sense of personal fulfillment and only hunting for sustenance or going through repeated cycles of replication, and may experience an increasing need for satisfactory intellectual stimulants. The planning, execution, and aftermath of hunts have grown significantly more elaborate and intricate over the years. This includes being more choosy about certain qualities in their victims and increasing the length they go to in order to involve themselves in victims' lives before and after, and also overall increasing the level of effort they appear to put into nestling themselves into the society they've chosen as hunting ground by appearing as one of its regular citizens. It's been hinted at that the amount of attention they've received from security officials has also become considered part of their game. Ooh. It's really a game of what can I get away with? Who will notice, and will they find me? Social aptitude. The majority of witnesses have described the individual with adjectives pointing to a very extrovert personality, and they appear to be able to leave a strong and lasting first impression on those they meet. In social contexts, they are considered pleasant, charming, engaging, talkative, and gregarious. According to the studies and conclusions made by Dr. Blon, these traits are likely all superficial and the result of trained behaviors of a predator specialized in hiding in plain sight. Dr. Blon has further attributed them with the above average level of intelligence and predisposition towards rationality. The effective empathy is described as feigned and possibly non-existent, making them only able to understand emotions on a purely academic level. Thus, the sociability exhibited is likely a combination of deliberate decision-making, high cognitive empathy, and aptitude in learning social codes in order to exhibit behaviors that are both expected and congenial. Post the cognitive tests, there appeared to be a visible shift in the individual behavior and a showing of what Dr. Blon described as the bearing of the core. It was during this period that their incapability of truly understanding the emotions and point of view of others became most evident. They're also prone to broadly clump together and generalize concepts such as other species, ethnicities, cultures, other social groups, while always attributing uniqueness and inflated importance to themselves and their needs. Based on the observations made during my last few sessions with Anias, they have exhibited many of the signs attributed to primary psychopathy. Whether this should be quantified as a medical condition or simply a natural behavior originating from being of a predatory species is something I lack the knowledge and understanding to make a fair judgment of. Excerpt from Dr. Blon's profiling journal. I started getting interesting results when Anias was faced with cognitive tests that couldn't easily be completed just by drawing from their typical repertoire of responses. Most of the responses to different stimuli were clearly a combination of rational thinking and cold calculation. Unexpected answers and results to these responses seemed difficult to process and were met with weighted silence. These could be signs of lacking imagination and ability to fantasize, which would match well with their previously expressed difficulty in understanding the concept of daydreaming. Another excerpt from Dr. Blon's profiling journal. And so we come to temperament. The individual is described as self-possessed and assertive, which correlates the behavior observed and visual recordings collected from the Tarion Penal Facility. During all interactions between fellow convicts, staff, and interviewers, the individual remained at a level temper, with no outward signs of anger, fear, distress, or anxiousness. Most notably, the individual appeared to lack a proper fear response, even if exposed to potentially dangerous/harmful situations, and remained unnaturally calm and rational even if put under high levels of stress and pressure. This doesn't necessarily mean the individual is incapable of producing positive or negative valence from situations they were exposed to, only that it's possible they didn't occur as instinctual reactions during the present moment. Some proper Hannibal shit. Yeah. We had this guy, he didn't keep all his jam in the jars, if you know what I mean. The guy blew his lid over something they said, swearing and grabbing a utensil and stabbing them in the chest. They didn't even flinch. just grabbed the guy's arm so tight he dropped it after like the third stab or something. We'd come running in at that point, and I think they just said something, but couldn't hear what. Everyone's avoided them since. Well, the guy was found in the janitor's closet a day later, and no one knows how he got there. As dead as could be with the rag stuffed in his mouth. Heard some rumors that every single bone in his arms and legs were broken. I think he might have died from the pain. Interviewed Terry and Warden. Yeah, so this guy's pretty good, pretty cool. So yeah, we have come to the end of this article. It was a very long, very chunky read, but like there was so much juicy detail in here. A lot of excellent content to tell us exactly what this character is like, what they've done, and just like what's going on inside that brain of theirs. What has made them do all of this? So yeah, excellent read. So here's that link again for anyone who is interested. And yeah, let's see if the next one's a little brighter. As next on our list, we have some more Tomy representation. We have an article from Judas, one of our own. Oh, I need to take my little sippy. Ah, wonderful. And so we have, yeah, Tomy rep. Here we go. Evangeline Fire Whisperer. It's another submission for the character article, and look how cute this character is. I love her. You could say I have a thing for redheads. But yes, here we go. Evangeline Fire Whisperer. In the vast and enigmatic realm of the Obsidian Empire, there exists an individual who defies convention and challenges societal norms with an insatiable wanderlust and relentless desire for exploration. Evangeline Fire Whisperer, a remarkable gnome, occupies a unique space within the Empire's landscape as a member of both the Shadowsong Guild and the Luminary Explorers. Known for her daring exploits and relentless pursuit of the unknown, she embodies the spirit of adventure and curiosity that captivates the imagination of the Empire's populace. Ooh. Early life and origins. Evangeline Fire Whisperer was born in the heart of the Obsidian Empire, in the bustling city of Shadowkeep. With her striking emerald eyes, copper-toned skin, and fiery red hair cascading down her petite frame, she stood out amidst the gnome community. From an early age, Evangeline displayed an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and a burning desire to explore the farthest reaches of the Empire. Kayatan, hello, welcome! Joining the Shadowsong Guild. Drawn to the allure of society and pursuit of forbidden knowledge, Evangeline forged a connection with the Shadowsong Guild, an ancient and secretive organization that delves into the mysteries of the Empire. Her exceptional skills in stealth and her innate affinity for the shadows made her a natural fit within the ranks. Oh, can you show the picture of her? I sure can. Here you go. There it is. Ain't she cute? Nino has gone to the lurk realm. Isn't she cute? She's a little gnome lady. We got the Tomies here with the gnomies. Need food. Oh gosh, yeah, me too. After this stream, I'm gonna just devour probably some eggs. Make some eggies. I had the most embarrassing experience of my life yesterday because I tried to soft boil an egg, and for like the first time in my life ever since I learned how to, boil eggs, I just completely undercooked it, and I just looked at it like, how did I manage to do this? I was boiling an egg and I couldn't even manage it. Rip Eggy, yeah, I know. I made myself some ramen, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if I had like soft-boiled egg to go with this, and then, see, you've already reached silver. I did! I got my silver! I'm hoping to get like 1 or 2 articles, like, just kind of pushed through before tonight, because I'd like to be at 18 before the gold prompts drop. Like, I feel like I'd be most comfortable with having like, kind of like 1 not done per prompt wave, essentially. So that way when the diamond prompts drop, I'm like ahead of schedule, like very ahead. And then I don't have to worry about doing quite as much. But let's see. I don't remember where I left off, but we'll just go back to joining the Shadowsong Guild. Drawn to the allure of secrecy and pursuit of forbidden knowledge, Evangeline forged a connection with the Shadowsong Guild, an ancient and secretive organization that delves into the mysteries of the Empire. Her exceptional skills in stealth and innate affinity for the shadows made her a natural fit within their ranks. The Shadowsong Guild recognized her potential and provided her with the training and resources to further her exploration and uncover hidden truths. Ooh, one of my brothers is a chef. I can send him to save the Strix kitchen. Yes, please. I need some soy marinated eggies, please. Evangeline became a formidable infiltrator, able to navigate the darkest corners of the Empire with ease. Her agility, coupled with her mastery of illusion and stealth, allowed her to gather invaluable information and secrets, often uncovering the truth behind the shadows that enshrouded the Empire's powerful figures. Embracing the path of the luminary explorers. Driven by a desire to push the boundaries of the known world and to venture into uncharted territories, Evangeline sought membership in the esteemed Luminary Explorers. This renowned organization, composed of intrepid adventurers and seekers of knowledge, welcomed her with open arms. Her unique perspective, unwavering determination, and willingness to confront the unknown made her a valuable asset to their ranks. As a luminary explorer, Evangeline embarked on daring expeditions, charting unexplored realms and documenting her findings. With her keen intellect and insatiable curiosity, she uncovered hidden wonders, unraveled ancient mysteries, and mapped treacherous landscapes. Her boundless wanderlust led her to encounter mythical creatures, traverse forgotten ruins, and navigate perilous terrains. Through her expeditions, she expanded the Empire's understanding of its vast territories, shedding light on the realms beyond, and bringing back tales of extraordinary adventure. Controversy and conflicting perceptions. Evangeline's unconventional nature and relentless pursuit of exploration have sparked controversy and evoked contrasting perceptions within the Obsidian Empire. While some view her as a trailblazer, pushing the boundaries of knowledge and challenging social norms, others perceive her as reckless and disruptive. Her disregard for authority and her penchant for venturing into dangerous territories have raised concerns among the conservative factions within the Empire. Critics argue that her wanderlust-driven pursuits come at a cost, with resources diverted towards her expeditions that could be allocated to other pressing matters within the Empire. They question the necessity of her relentless exploration and emphasize the potential dangers and destabilizing effects her actions may have on the delicate balance of the Empire's realms. However, her supporters highlight the invaluable contributions she has made to the Empire's understanding of its own lands and the rich tapestry of the unknown. They applaud her unwavering dedication to pushing boundaries of knowledge and her ability to uncover hidden truths. To them, Evangeline represents the epitome of bravery, curiosity, and the indomitable spirit that defines the Obsidian Empire. Legacy and enduring influence. Regardless of the controversy surrounding her, there is no denying the lasting impact Evangeline Fire Whisperers had on the Obsidian Empire. Her expeditions have expanded the Empire's knowledge of its territories, revealed new frontiers in exploration, and enriched its cultural heritage with tales of her daring adventures. Tragically, Evangeline met her untimely demise during an expedition to the forbidden realms of the Veilshade Forest, where she had sought to unravel the ancient enigmas hidden within its depths. While her physical journey may have ended, her legacy lives on as an inspiration to future generations of explorers, scholars, and adventurers within the Obsidian Empire. Evangeline Fire Whisper's relentless pursuit of the unknown continues to ignite the spark of curiosity in the hearts of those who yearn to challenge the limits of their world. Her unwavering dedication to exploration, her courage in the face of danger, and her insatiable thirst for knowledge remain a testament to the enduring allure of the wanderlust-driven quest for discovery and adventure. A wonderful, wonderful article about a wonderful character. So she was 52 years old when she passed. That's pretty impressive. To spend a whole life exploring these dangerous places and to make it to 52. And she was 3 feet tall. Take my post-article sippy. Oh, my bad. And I will share the link once again for anyone who may have wandered on in the middle of that. This is the article we've just read. Go give Judith some love. As a member of my chapter, I absolutely would love for everyone to just shower praise on these people. So we already read one from Crazy Eddie. We'll come back to it if we have time again at the end. But we have a gnome. So this is from Melissa Plays RPGs. Ooh. What is it with me? I did add both of your articles that you submitted to my list. but I figure we will only read it if we have time at the end. Gnome. So we went from a Tomi to a Nomi. Here you go. Well, actually, we went from a Nomi written by a Tomi to a Nomi written by a different homie. There we go. And here we go, we have Rastus the Explorer. And here is that link for everybody. We got a gnome. And here we go. The one and only Rastus is quite unique among the gnomes.
Refresh yourselves.
Thank you. Having spent decades isolated from his own kind, Rastus had gained a much wider understanding of the boreal forest, as his people call home. He has gained both fortune and notoriety from the experience, while his books about the plants and animals of the forest are universally loved. I still haven't recovered how you pronounce gnome in English. Yeah, just gnome. Gnome. You've been gnomed. Yeah, while his books about the plants and animals of the forest are universally loved, Rastus's opinions about the prank war have proven quite unpopular. You pronounce the G in French? Yeah, we just kind of pretend it's not there. We just get rid of it. Almost lunch. It was an otherwise unremarkable day when Rastus followed a familiar route among the Hatway. Binary, hello, hiya, welcome. Welcome in. We're reading some articles from SummerCamp that were submitted from the community. I know, it's so weird. Mochi. Jacob W, thank you for following. Hello, welcome. Yeah, Mochi's just out here making silly little hee-hoo jokes. But a magical portal network designed to make travel safer for the gnomes of the forest. He thought that he was just going to quickly pop out of a door near his favorite garden, grab something to eat, and then return home. And Jacob, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Evil gnomes would be creepy. I see evil gnomes in so much media that sometimes I just see a gnome and I'm like, oh, they must be creepy. I tried to sneak in, but I failed. Oh no. That's okay. You can still be sneaky. I'll pretend I didn't see you. He thought that he was just going to quickly pop out of a door near his favorite garden, grab something to eat, and then return home. The inside of a hatway door is transparent to allow a gnome to check for danger before exiting a tree. Rastus checked for trouble 10 times, as is gnomish custom. He did not see the dread owl. Oh no. On wings made of silence, the dread owl swooped upon the stupefied gnome. Its talons gripped him as it flew off with him. Fortunately for Rastus, he never made eye contact with the owl and avoided its doom gaze. By creating an illusionary tree snake and dislocating his shoulder, Rastus was eventually able to escape. Unfortunately, his hat was lost. Oh no. Dread owl, I know. You and me both, certainly. 50 years vagrant. Without his magic hat, Rastus couldn't use the hatway to return home. Locked outside without his key, Rastus eventually resigned himself to enjoy outside. He did spend much of his time looking for any of his peers, but the only one he saw was his rival. Twice. On the first occasion, Rastus wasn't sure if Fraston saw him before quickly going through a hatway door and closing it behind him as Rastus tried to call out. On the second occasion, Fraston's smug joy was written all over his face as he stuck his tongue out. He taunted Rastus before loudly banging the hatway door shut in his face. Rastus has never mentioned this to anyone. Sure, it was funny for the first 10 or 20 years, said Rastus. Fear of heights. After his first flight experience, Rastus was determined that his little feet need to stay on the ground. Dizzying heights cause Rastus a great deal of anxiety. He can't think, his vision closes, and he feels as though he might faint. When he remembers the owl attack, Rastus clutches his courage stone and tries to go about his day. The courage stone seems like such a cute idea. Pixies aren't terrible. With life in the forest being more difficult each day... There's mowing outside again. It sounds closer. With life in the forest being more difficult every day, the gnomes have started a prank war against the pixie refugees who have been stealing from gnome gardens. At first, Rastus thought that bewildering the little pixies for fun was harmless until he saw one cry. Now he's an advocate for a more positive relationship with his new neighbors. He never takes his hat off, not even at the spa. Paranoid, I suppose. Marcus on the topic of Rastus. And if you want to read more about the gnomes and the prank war, we can check out this related article about gnomes. This is such a cute article. I love this. And so we have the Hatway, this wonderful little portal to the trees. And we have the Dread Owl in an image right there. So I love this little article and I love this little guy. Melissa, thank you for sending this in. I loved reading this. And I will send the link again for anyone who is new or missed it. And there's the link for that. Go drop some likes, go drop some comments. I see Owl, I'm enthralled immediately. Yes, me too. In case you couldn't tell, just from my name. But alright. Thank you, I thought he was so adorable I had to write about him. Yes, 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 I agree. I also just I love the way that you told this story. He's just a gnome having a normal day and suddenly a bird's like, yum yum, give me some. And so there are a lot of things that were mentioned in here that I'm very curious about, like the Courage Stone and also the Dread Owl itself and the Doom Gaze that it has. Strict solidarity, yes. We got the owl vibes going. Listen, I experienced the Guardians of Ga'Hoole book series when I was younger and it's just latched onto my DNA ever since. And so I was never a horse girl. I was never, none of that. I was the owl creature. Just the owl creature thing. And so let us move on to our next article. I don't get how your name is related to owls. So my name, Strixline. Nee, hello, welcome. Actually, oh man, Nee, I already read your article. I'm so sorry, you missed it. But Kayatan, my name is related to owls because Strix is it's a Latin word, I believe, for owl, and it's also a genus or something of a certain type of owl. So it is indeed a word meaning owl. I saw some suspicious likes. Yes, they were really great. I loved your little article about the asteroid belt. I had a lot of interesting. I had some questions. I want to go explore this place, essentially. I also did have a moment where I was a little caught on how you called the workers their what was it, belters? And I also have written during summer camp about a working class in my world called the Beltsteaders. And so I just thought it was silly that we both have workers with belt focus names. Because you have the workers of the asteroid belt, I have the workers of the harvest belt. Yeah, I think the Expanse also calls them belters, yeah. Collision course, yes, we were also all very intrigued by the collision course. Hi, I'm back, by the way. Welcome! Welcome in. And so, let me share this link to our next article. I will take my sippy after that one. We have the Hammerbird Dreadlock from TL Cassis. Had to think so hard to find a good pun, yes. But here we go. We have Hammerbird Dreadlock. This is another character article. I don't take adventurers into the waste. They're all fools, every one of them, and while the world would be better off without them, she won't take them out on my watch. Besides, she might miss. Oh, Binary, thank you for following. Hello. That is a quote from Hammerbird Dreadlock. The right stuff. It might be the piercing grey eyes or the deep wrinkles on his leathery face. Perhaps it's the chapped lips from the cold or the grey beard nestled in the snug warmth of his fur-lined coat. Maybe it's the flinching twitch of his right eyelid when he hears the tone of your voice change when you disembark and discover this ice-filled place only has fur-covered temporary structures to protect from the bitter cold. Whatever it is, he sees right through you. He can tell within moments if you're made of the right stuff. The stuff that stays aware, that listens and remembers, that acts instantly when threatened. The stuff that might keep you alive in the northern wastes. He doesn't say much, at least not directly to people. He writes, though, words on a page, painting the only picture most of us will ever see of the beauty and wilderness of a tortured place that kills faster than a thought. He is one of the few who knows this place. Well, knows is an ambiguous word, but he's gone into the heart of the maelstrom almost 20 times now and returned alive. He's made of the right stuff, and that, of course, is why you're here. Can I say, I love the way that this article is written? I would trust him, yeah. This is a no BS kind of guy. Anyone can join the Discord. Yeah, anyone is welcome to join the Discord. We have like little forums in which you can talk about SummerCamp articles and just, like you can come talk about whatever creative thing you're worried about and working on. So yes, if you are interested in joining like this little community here, you are more than welcome to join the Discord. We have Sigurd's Craw. Ooh, is this little story here? Hammerber Dreadlock sat back from the short table that was covered with a spread of meat and hot tea. He examined the apparently younger man in front of him, who returned his look confidently, but with an air of questioning. Orion, is it? And why exactly do you think you need to reach Cairn? That's no casual trip, it's a long way into the wastes, he asked. There's something I need to retrieve, Orion replied evasively. The old man shook his head decisively. You're just an adventurer, and I don't take adventurers into the wastes. They're all fools, every one of them, and while the world would be better off without them, she won't take them out on my watch. He paused. Besides, she might miss. Oh, that's the quote from the beginning. Choosing a name is the hardest part of creating a character. I want to create an explorer who delves into the ruins of the elves, but can't figure out a name. Yeah, listen, anytime I play any video game ever, I'm sitting on that character creation screen for like half an hour thinking of a name. Like 2 hours designing the character, half an hour picking out a name. It's a Ruiner Delverson. There you go. That's the perfect one. But yeah. You've been there yourself. Doesn't that make you an adventurer? Orion asked with amusement. Hammerber laughed and put his finger to his lips in a hushing gesture and leaned forward and pointed at the man. His voice dropped theatrically. Don't say that too loud. They might hear you. The young elven woman with Orion made a quick motion with her hands to him, and he nodded slightly. Who is they? He asked the old man. You know. Or you wouldn't have come for me. The Lays. The ones the old fools got riled up at the cataclysm. There's danger in predators, but there are predators everywhere. It's the Lays, the magic, that makes this place so deadly. Draw their attention, they'll kill you. No mercy, no thought. The only ones that will even give you a chance are the Water Lay and the Fire Lay. Orion nodded. I know enough to know that I don't know enough. To know I need you, Hammerber. I have to ask again. Will you guide us to Cairn and back? The old man shook his head. We would have to cross the territories of 2 silver dragons and a pack of hearts Lehoyak to get there. And Cairn is overrun with the Azat's Harak. Do you even know what you're looking for and where it is? It's in the reliquary, Orion replied. You've lost your mind. Find yourself another guide to indulge your death wish. No one goes into a reliquary and comes out alive. I have. Orion reached to his sides and unsheathed the 2 short-handled cleavers from their sheaths, then laid them on the table in front of him. When I retrieved these. The spines of the ugly butcher knives glowed, and ancient faded runes rose to visibility from within the steel. You're the butcher? Hammerber asked with startled amazement. Thoughts raced visibly across his face. His eyes narrowed distrustfully. If you can enter and leave a reliquary, why do you need me? This is too dangerous to go alone. The cold is bitter and persistent. I can't just get in and out of it quickly here. It takes skills and knowledge that I don't have to adapt to it. I won't go into the land of Azat's Harak without companions. Jewel is smart and strong and competent enough to stay alive under almost any set of circumstances, but the waste is different, and I can't leave my protege alone while I traverse the portal. We need a guide who can get us there, then stay alive and keep her from dying while you wait for me to get what I need and get out. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Precisely. Hammerber considered, then shook his head. Butcher or no, I don't do adventures. I'm not on an adventure, I'm on a mission, and I need to get to the reliquary of Cairn in the next month. I need you. You're the only one who can get us there. Hammerber shrugged. Means nothing to me. And don't bother offering me money. That don't mean anything to me either. Stuff don't spend when you're dead, even if I wanted anything it could buy me, which I don't. Frustration finally landed on Orion's face. What's the problem? You go into the wastes all the time, you practically live there. Why would you? Quick as a bullwhip, the old man's hand lashed out at the younger man's chest and stopped abruptly, trapped mere inches from his body in Orion's iron grip. Who sent you? What is this really about? Harrober asked, his eyes fixed on the other man's face, both men fighting silently through motionless fist. Orion leaned forward and whispered something unintelligible to his ear. The old man sat back, pulling his fist back to his side. What would he... Why? The shield-bearer has been killed. The Eldritch are coming. The startled look on Harrober's face gave way to consternation, then resignation. He looked over at the younger man, then replied in a very serious, businesslike tone. All right, I'll take you, under conditions. This is going to cost you, and I don't want to hear any whining about it. You have to do everything I say instantly. Your lives depend on it. I am always the authority. No arguing, no second-guessing. No magic of any kind. Keep those ugly knives of yours sheathed. He shot a look at the elven woman. No passives, no spells, no charms. None. It angers the lays. Now, we have preparations to make. 3 days. That's as fast as we can be ready. We have to get the sleds packed and the dogs and reindeer ready. I'll need to see all of your gear, both of you. Understand? Orion and Jewel nodded. You both seem fit and intelligent enough. No promises, but we might make it back alive. Suddenly, Harrober threw back his head and laughed broadly. His eyes crinkled and glowing with excitement. But even if we don't, this is going to be one hell of a trip. It's my kind of guy. He knows what he's about. So yeah, that was really cool. I will always be one to say I love seeing articles that have like a narrative component, little stories attached. And that was a really fun one. That really expressed to me what kind of character this guy is, how seriously he takes his role, and just how dangerous this place in the world is. So here's that link again for anyone who is new or missed it. That is Hammerbird Deadlock from TL Cassis. One of the sponsors from SummerCamp, by the way. I don't know if I missed anyone in like any of the articles I read that happened to also be from sponsors, but this is one of them. And yeah, so I am very intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by who the Lays are and how powerful they are and why they hate magic if they seem to be beings of magic themselves. It's very interesting, very, very cool to read about something like this. And here's our guy. And all right, we will take our little sippy. And next up on our list is Amelie Candied Magic. I remember seeing this article when it was, when the link was sent to me and it just pops up with the Candied Magic. I'm like, ooh, this seems like something lovely to read. Emma, yeah! Here's that link for everybody to go check out. I'll take another sip in preparation. Consume! Yeah, here we go. Damn, yo. So, alright. Guild notice. I should have brought sweets. Maybe. Warning about candied magic. Written by Madame Solane de Nivers from the Rune Guild. Thank you for the story and the read. I have to head out. Well, thank you for stopping by. It was wonderful to see you. So here we go. By order of His Majesty the King, all guild members in the country are required to receive an information note to warn them of the dangers of consuming candied magic. And here we have, oh, look at this! We got a little loop-de-loop. This is so much fun. How do you do this? I like the little candied magic in the middle. So let's start from the top. Lots of CSS, yeah, for sure. So origin. Developed on the frontier by the army during the last war. Used to quickly replenish soldiers' magic urgently during battles to have them fight for longer. How? Sugar molecules mutated to hold metallic atoms and charged with magic. These effects come from the metals and the magic themselves, no added drugs or other active compounds. We have dangers. Metal poisoning, euphoric sensation leading to loss of sound, judgment, and endangering tendencies. Counterfeit version containing drugs and poison. Weak mages overdosing on magic and going into shock. Ooh. Very dangerous. Flavors. The original model was called a blood, because hemoglobin was mixed in the sugar molecules to add even more metals and magic. Since then, a lot of flavors. Most popular are citrus and berry, still with a metallic taste. And their uses, initially provided to soldiers in their ration pack, then used by professional duelers. Now use has expanded to the wealthy parties and balls. And what? A candy filled with magic, gives a euphoric sensation and is mildly addictive, designed for the magic to be quickly absorbed by the body. And we have some troubles. The use of candied magic was at first limited because it was a state secret. Now that knowledge had filtered to civilian society, the only limit is its exorbitant price. Nevertheless, this has not prevented it from becoming incredibly popular in a minor fraction of society and creating a lot of problems with too many young and not so young people overdosing when they do not first endanger themselves by attempting to fulfill stupid bets. The guild will not stand to be humiliated by the imbecile actions of any of its members. Furthermore, a recent surge of counterfeit candies has been observed in this style, and all mages are called to be on their guard. Only buy candied magic from certified manufacturers, and if you complain that you cannot afford them as often anymore, that was arguably because you were having too many in the first place. Violate the law and buy from unqualified dealers at your own risk. Ooh. Yeah, I love this fun little concept. So you just like pop them in your mouth and crunch and munch on them, and it's basically like, it's like the candy equivalent of like a mana potion. You are now part of my QA testing system. Oh, geez. Yeah, but I love these little things. They're fun. It seems I am. You've been voluntold for a role. Here you go. Just gonna drop that link for everybody again. Oh yeah, I don't know. Every time I open one of your articles, I feel like I'm just completely enamored by just whichever way you've decided to present things. Like, you know, with these little pop-ups here, just kind of like going in a little circle. This is like, it's fun to read. It's fun to look at. My diabetes is spiking just by reading. Job done. Yeah, and like you always have like these little sections and all these little icons breaking everything up, and it's so much fun. Need to go by and have a nice time. Thanks for stopping by, Kayetan. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right. And so this means we can go on to our next article. Curious, has anyone referenced real-world issues in their articles? I feel like, I guess it depends on what your definition of real-world issues is. I mean, we did definitely just have some crazy wild serial killer issues here. A lot of people have mentioned war and conflict. I mean, even Ame's article just now referenced, like, you know, people are selling laced and drugged versions of this magic. Like, this is basically a government PSA saying, like, hey, these things are dangerous, stop using them, stop being stupid with them, they're also laced with drugs and poison sometimes, so relax. Just stop doing it. So I definitely could see, like, this kind of warning being quite literally on the media, in the news. Serial killers certainly would be on the news. But, yes, so up next, we are moving on to another prompt. This is prompt 19. It's going to be our landmark prompt. And this is the Library of Eons from that mom friend. Another one of our Tomies. Wonderful, wonderful. Libraries. Yes, we got the Tomie rep. We got our homies from the Tomies submitting articles about gnomies, except this one's not about gnomes, so. Here we go. Yeah, we got the Library of Eons. Let me take my little precursor sip. Aha. Yes, and so if you are in the chat right now and you don't have an article that I am, like, you know, gonna be planning to read today and you would still like to submit one, there is still time. You are more than welcome to submit an article, you know, as long as I'm live. Tomie Squad, yes. And so here we go, we got the Library of Eons. The Library of Eons lies deep within the mountain Protevosa surrounds. An ever-twisting series of chambers, rooms, and stairwells sprawling across more floors than most will ever explore in their lifespans. The design. The library spans buildings on the face of mountains as well as a majority of the base of the mountain. The outer buildings are crafted from the stone excavated while creating the library, and each building holds a genre of records, books, or media. The chambers and bookshelves themselves are carved out of the mountain, and the excavated stone and materials were used to build the city's government buildings. The library itself has a multitude of clearance levels, and while the upper floors are open to the public, you must be accompanied to the deeper floors by an archivist. Part of that is security, but another part is the lower levels act like a maze, leaving those without guides to get lost in the seemingly endless records. I just realized that tome equals your chapter. Yeah. Yes, we call them the tomies. And so these are my homies, the tomies. Yes. Where am I? The entire library is extremely well lit by magical and non-magical means in order to protect the information from any darkness attempting to infiltrate the library. In the center of the mountain, a pillar of radiant light passes through all the library's floors. It is securely sealed with magic and reinforced stained glass to prevent people from assumedly falling through the light and down to the bottom floor, wherever that might be. The contents by area. The upper floors hold public records of governing bodies, family trees, and fictional books of all genres. Biographies and autobiographies are also quite popular, and each has its own respective floor. The Library of Eons is called such due to its extensive documentation of the lives of citizens, past and present. Almost all personal information recorded is freely given. Some are added retroactively, but are notated as such. The deeper levels hold records of historical events, government records, and population demographics and polls. Stormbrill, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Here we go. The deeper levels hold records of historical events, government records, and population demographics and polls. The extent of these levels is categorized by time span, and the deeper floors appear after every decade to accommodate new information. It is unclear how these new levels appear, as the previous floors shift downwards in the occurrence of a new floor. That's an interesting little magical phenomenon there. It's like adding a new row in Google Sheets. It's like, oh, we need another floor. Just put it here and shift everything down to accommodate it. Hey everyone, just woke up excited to listen in some lovely article reads. Yay! And that's exactly what is going on. There have been so many wonderful articles here so far. We have the archivists and protectors. Those who work at the library are referred to as record keeper, and they are considered to be the guardians of knowledge. Those who seek knowledge of the lower floors must have the clearance level and approval of each floor's record keepers, or they will not be allowed in. This has infuriated many nobles, especially in the passing of sovereign title, leads to reallocated clearance levels. Ooh. So that was a fun little library article. I'm also of the type that loves libraries, archives, things where information and just anything is stored and cataloged. It's so fun. It's where I want to be. I want to be in these libraries all the time. So I'll take my post-article sip, and I will, as per usual, give you that link again. So here you go, if you'd like to go check it out. Give some extra love to all of my tomies. My Copper Seat of Power was a magical library. Ooh. That's a lot of fun. Let's see, we only have a couple of articles yet to read. So once again, if you do have if you have not sent me a submission and you would like one to be read on stream, if you're just like, hanging out in here, you're more than welcome. Just send me your favorite article from SummerCamp. But we have back-to-back Tomie feature for our newest Tomie, actually. The Dumb Owl. Hello. Also known as Owl, and also known as Bowl. It is you. We have the delightful model village of Super Evil Castle Place. Just from the name alone, I'm very intrigued. So here you go. Here is that link. I've not gotten to experience much of your world so far.
Refresh yourselves.
Oh, I thank you for the sippy. But rave reviews from so many other people have told me that this is going to be a wonderful adventure. I was like, what? Yeah. So we have this beautiful header right here, the super evil castle place. Yeah, so here we go. Despite Emperor of Evil and Terror carrying a pretty blood-curdling ring to it, the person behind the myth is about as far from it as you can get. All fluffy clouds and tea parties encased in wicked demonic armor. Doff the suit and he wouldn't be terribly out of place as your fellow neighbor, providing a 20-foot-tall man tending to his flowers with comically small gardening equipment didn't perturb you. Alas, he is stuck at the interpreted bottom of the world with an army of imps at his service and an astronomically large cupboard of tea stocked. If only there were a way to draw more visitors to his home and shatter the illusions that the foul myth once and for all. Model villages. I have read about those in the paper. Adorable little versions of the normal version of the place. I would like one of those, please. Scroll down to catch this. The art, the opening paragraph, I'm in. Yes, this is so good. And this founding date is a few months ago, RN. Alternative names. My Little Castle. Super Not Evil in the Super Evil Castle Place. It is a park. The scale is 1 to 8, and the fun level is maximum. And this little art. No, look at it. It's so small and imposing. It's beautiful. I love how everything on here is like these are little like notes and writings. It's lots of fun. Hey, Sunnybird boy, what's up? How you doing? Welcome in. We are reading this delightful article right now. If you happen to have a silver article, I don't know if you're doing summer camp. But if you're doing summer camp, if you have a silver article that you want me to read on stream, there's time at the end still, so you're more than welcome to read. Or to send for me to read. I'm at work and need brain power, so world building. Woo! But yes, the work begins. Due to an error in communication, the horde of demons at the Emperor's disposal had happily produced an entirely perfect-looking village that any humble aunt would be delighted to live in. After which he had to explain that he actually wanted them to make a smaller version of his castle. Daffodilton is now a welcome addition to the otherwise uninhabitable wasteland of the super evil castle place. Demons are a lot of things, scary namely, but architects? Bizarrely enough, yes. Between raiding villages, terrorizing the general public, and conducting all sorts of evil, devious rituals, demonkind have a strange knack for construction. Do you have any idea how much of a pain summoning circles are if you don't get the circumference exactly right? That's the difference between summoning a hellhound and a pigeon. An incredibly frustrated imp, compass in hand. The forces of evil got hard at work, producing an adorably small version of their sinister and foreboding fortress. Oh, it's delightful. This is precisely what I wanted. Yes, I am worried about its size, though. Do you think it's too small? Emperor, upon inspecting the model. Oh, I didn't scroll down enough yet. The castle, the actual castle, is pretty big. I mean, it comfortably houses a man that towers over some small houses, so you'd certainly hope it was big. Unfortunately, being blessed with a demonic understanding of mathematics and geometry doesn't always prepare you for the reality. They had deemed 1/8 the appropriate scale at which to reproduce the castle, and all of its humble, terrific details. Look at this little guy. What they had discovered, however, was that they scaled the model perfectly with their own height. The model castle in full functioned almost flawlessly as its own structure, every detail down to the chairs, tables, even the cupboards absolutely stacked with the Emperor's various choices of tea was replicated. If you were small enough, I dare say you could straight up live in the thing. The bickering started almost immediately. I should be the one to live in it. I didn't slave over the detailing of that damned bedroom nights on end to not sleep in it. What the not hell are you even talking about? We don't need sleep. 2 imps going at it. Wonderful. Purpose and function, to be incredibly cute, of course. Alterations. Changes were made in recent days to the dining area when it was brought to the Emperor's attention that the cups set on the table were not, in fact, functional, and were for some reason glued to the table. It's supposed to be like a diorama. I swear you guys are just building this to be lived in or something. Imp banned from access to the glue drawer. Tourism. So far, the attraction has failed to draw in additional visitors to the castle as the Emperor had intended. Turns out getting a handful of demons to give out posters and pamphlets to the neighboring villages about your shiny new model village that everyone should visit has them believe it's some kind of plot or trap devised by the greatest threat the land had ever seen, or something like that. And that is the end of that article. Oh my god. I I love this writing style. I love the writing style. I love the art. It's just like sometimes simplicity is best. When you finish number 16 that makes silver, heck yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to the Silver Club, much like myself. It's very exciting. I will share the link with everyone once again, so if you'd like to go check it out and drop some likes and things, some likes and comments, some nice words. Autumn Ninetales, hello. Strixline, hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome in. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like so many of the articles that we read are just you know, like they're super serious in what they are, and this on its own is just, it's so fun to go through. It's just a fun little story and fun little quips and quotes from everything, and just the super simple art style just makes it so much fun. Yes, so absolutely, everyone, go give some love to a fellow Tomy. Love the article style too. Yes. Yeah, it's like you just open a little book to like a, you know, like a page of notes, a little report on something, and someone's scribbled in all these words. So yeah, it's fun. It is indeed a wonderful article. Ooh, I need to take my little sippy after this. Oh. I'll take a minute to pause my readings, just to kind of hang out for like half a second. Thank you for the kind words. Yes. Listen, we are in this to give love and support to all of our friends in the community. Because I'm just taking a little reading break, a little sippy break. Just gonna hang out here for a second. Ooh, yeah, we're just gonna hang out here for a second, have a little sip, have a little chill. Yeah, so how is everyone doing just as far as summer camp? How are we feeling? How's like the morale in general? Are you hitting your goals? Is there anything that you feel that you could use some help with? Anything that you feel is just kind of not going well for you at the moment? If anyone wants to whisper me links for later, I'm planning to read and reflect tonight. Would love to read some work. I'm going to be making like an article compiling all the articles that I read today. And it's going to be for like the little Feral Friday showcase. And I realize I didn't have my little stream avatars on today. That's so sad. So here we go. We have little me at the bottom of my screen. But yeah, it's going super well for you. Good. First, I didn't like these prompts, but I'm very happy with what I came up with. 2.4-ish out of 16. Vacation knocked everything out of me, but the ocean was fun. Oh, wonderful. Were you taking like a little ocean vacation? That sounds like a lot of fun. And last summer camp I was struggling. This time I feel really good, even with 2 software releases during July. Gold is copper, which I got. Silver is close, so I dream of getting gold. Heck yes. We love seeing people hitting their goals. Yeah, like I'm very much like, you know, on schedule, on/ahead of schedule. So I feel very comfortable with at least, you know, achieving the diamond badge. The one thing that I'm a little upset about is the fact that I'm like the quality of work that I've produced thus far for summer camp just hasn't really been quite where I want it to be. You know what I mean? Like I've been focusing a lot more on just kind of getting the work finished than I have on, you know, producing work that's like prettied up and fancy. So yeah, I'm really like fighting those little brain weasels that are like, no, the article must be pretty and perfect to submit. So I'm just like straight up ignoring that thing and just hitting like the funny little button once I hit my 300 words. So yeah, we're gonna hope that in the final week or maybe like during this coming week, I'll have some time just to make some things look nicer, to present them in the way that I would like for them to be presented. I wasn't planning on doing all prompts, but they've been so inspiring so far, so I might end up with 40. Small articles for the win. Yes. Yeah, I mean like I don't have an issue with like producing small articles, like, you know, me myself. But I do want them to be organized, so I'm definitely gonna have to go through and just like pick through them, make sure they're like sectioned out, make sure the information is presented in a nicer way. But I certainly am okay with not having like 2,000-word articles for every single prompt. Like, I do not need that in my life. That is too much for me to focus on, especially during the course of 1 month. Like, I'm lucky if I can get a few of those during World Ember, you know what I mean? But yeah, I like these prompts have been awesome so far, and so I've loved writing them. So I'm also of the camp of like I wasn't expecting to do every single one, but I think I might. I'm just not going to like stress myself out over it. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to hit my 32 and then I'm going to decide, okay, what other prompts are still on this list that I want to make something for? And I mean, here's the fun thing. If I submit my 32 prompts, I can make like, tiny little baby articles that don't quite fit for the other 8. So if I get stuck on 250 words on one of those prompts, whatever. That's okay. It doesn't need to be submitted for me to get my badge. I need to organize my front page. Need a bunch of summer camp article blocks. Yeah, I need to update my front page too. It's been the same for like forever. It just needs a little facelift, It just needs to be a little gotta have that gotta have some spice. I'm less ahead than I'd like to be, but still optimistic. 11 about to be 12. Heck yeah. I mean, you've been putting out some banger work, so good on you. Like, you're still killing it. I'm a bit behind, took last week off of July for of work, so I plan on writing most of my articles then. Yes, wonderful. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to have gold like as early as possible. And as close as we can get to 30 articles complete by the end of next week, that'll be like chef's kiss. Because then I will only need to do 2 in the final week, and that'd be awesome. And did my CSS over again, got an actual color scheme going, feels so much better. Ooh. Ooh, I love doing little CSS overhauls. it takes a lot of time and focus. Oh, and I've hit 19 out of 20. Congrats, Sarukas! Look at you go. Yeah, you are ahead of schedule. Heck yes. But yeah, I want I want at some point to redo my CSS. Because it's not that I'm unhappy with the way Malcora looks right now. I don't know, I kind of want things to be a little bit cleaner and a little bit more consistent. Because like I really did put together my current theme from Alcora by like, doing that like one piece at a time kind of CSS. And so yeah, things are getting a little CSS doing piece by piece. I would like to do a little bit more planning. I'd like to get some more custom containers out there, just figure out how else I want to design things. It's like a whole process. And it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm glad everyone's doing well, and at least like, most of you are keeping up with your goals like really well. Some of you are a little bit behind, but very optimistic, which is also wonderful to see. But then I just don't want to see anyone being like super like upset or stressed out over being a little bit behind. So if there is anyone feeling like that, like please, come hang out with the community, come reach out, come look for advice, and we will be glad to help you because it's not fun to be stressed out about your world building. Summer camp is the best time to redo CSS Stormville, you monster. No, do not do this. CSS after summer camp. It was feral on CSS. Well, alright, listen. If CSS during summer camp, ooh, I just shook my desk, haha. If CSS is what makes you go feral during summer camp, that's fine. You know what? That is a very camp feral thing to say. Decided to replan my D&D campaign during summer camp? Yeah, exactly. Gosh, like so much stuff goes on in the middle of July. Like Art Fight is happening during July, and I want to participate in Art Fight, but I imagine having the time. Imagine having the time to both write all these articles and also do art for the articles and also art for a completely different outside thing. It's an adventure. Spend more time doing CSS during World Ember than writing? Yeah. Isn't that just how it happens? Line, what is the naughty thing behind you? A middle shelf left from the Owl Book of Dragon Age Inquisition. This thing? This little art piece? Or this one? Doing art fight and summer camp, yeah. Yeah, this little naughty thing. This is one of the symbols of one of the gods in my world. It is, it is like a circle of chains encircling a kind of like bullseye-looking target. Yeah. I have these in little frames because they were actually part of my senior thesis show in college. So I have that one. I have also this one, which is like a shining eye. And I also have this one up here that is like a little passageway into the dawn. We can only guess which god that's supposed to be for. It's the new dawn. Very predictable. Let's see. I have also up here where you can't see, I have Atreus the Purifier, Silver Hammer and Flame. And we also have, also up here where they cannot be seen, we have the Eye of Selendal, the Watcher, the Bright Watcher. Forge God, more like protection god. Selendal, the Bright Watcher, is a god of healing and celestial matters. Atreus is the god of protection and light. The New Dawn is the mother goddess of the world, basically assisted in the process of bringing Malcora new life and just bringing it back from the brink of darkness. Bogara, the Fortune Hunter. She is a lesser god, a patron of dungeoneers and treasure hunters. More like explorers than like those who plunder things. And that one over there, ooh, I haven't written about him in a very long time. What's his name? Come on, I wrote this. I should know this. Oh my god, either way, this is the one of the gods from the Denmark pantheon who they're less gods and more of just nefarious entities. Need to read more Malcora? Well, unfortunately, these things are not really available to be read about. But they do exist. I just need to, I need to fix that. I need to bring them into life.
Refresh yourselves.
Okay, thank you. Alright, it's gonna kill me for the rest of my life if I don't, Oh, Pocord, the Taskmaster. Okay, I remembered. I threatened my brain with the opening of the Google Docs, and I remembered. Pocord, the Taskmaster, he is an evil deity of subjugation and is the father of many cults. Oh, can I commission you for some god icons? Camhander would be a good example. God of War and Knowledge. Unfortunately, at this point in time, I am not open to commissions because I have entirely too much on my plate at the moment. Like there's a whole project I'm on contract for that I'm going to be working through art for. And that is taking all of my free time at the moment. Wait, I have a deja vu at the right now. Ooh. But yeah, once that project is finished, I will kind of... Line is a busy person. Yeah, I wish I wasn't. I wish I had less things to do. That'd be really awesome. Because I want to pour more time into my world building and into summer camp, but alas, I have these giant projects to work on. And I won't say it's a bad thing. I just have this one major project that I need to finish and move on from, and then I can open myself up to more personal projects. And that is my goal at the moment. That's my goal at the moment. And hopefully, after that is complete, I may open commissions on like a case-by-case basis. We'll see. Because I also do have a lot of art that I want to make for Malcora as well. I just haven't had the time to. Which is really unfortunate. But it's fun to get to share little tidbits like the art that's back here. Only mentioned a few of gods in my prose, but only a few have an article right now. Yeah, so get to writing those articles. I'd love to read more I'd love to read some more about them. Oh. Sorry, I just threw my mug against my microphone stand. My bad. My gods are a little bit of a mess right now. I love them either way. Sure thing, you got it. Heck yes. So I look forward to reading more about these gods at some point. Bonk. Yeah, I just bonked everyone in here. Alright, so what do you guys say we get back to some more article reads and see what else we have up on our... That was a very satisfying bonk, was it? I always get so worried because like I have this habit of just like swiping my hand like, you know, as I'm just moving stuff on my desk and just like hitting my microphone. Oh yeah, the mug is fine. The mug is a-okay. A little stoneware mug. It can take a little bonk. Yeah, what do you say we get on to our next article? And I don't know if actually I do know. We on our excursion into the silver, our next article here is from Kitoipoi, the Red Feather Monument. Love seeing this. This is for the second to last prompt, I believe. It me, it you, yes indeed. And so, let me get you all this link. Hero Forge! Yes, Kitoipoi makes some wonderful models on Hero Forge. And they're very frequently used to, you know, illustrate these little articles. Ooh, there's some cool art in here. Haha, I'm excited to look at all this. But yes, here we go. Red Feather Monument. The Crimson Quill statue, popularly known as the Red Feather Monument or Lady Red Feather, is a bronze statue that usually stands on Wizard's Peak just above the university. It depicts a female mage with wings and 6 arms. She brandishes a different style of sword in each hand. It was commissioned by the Concordance in memory of the Battlemancers who fell during the Far War. The instructor of the recruits. Recycled some commissioned art from one of my challenge articles. Heck yes. I want to point out CSS magic. Yes, absolutely. Like these custom quote boxes, these containers, and how everything looks so cool. It makes it very obvious when you open an article from Kitoipoi that like, you know, this is the work of the one and only. And there is no one to compare to, really. So pretty. Yes, aren't they? Yes, I've been to Wizard's Peak a handful of times, and I saw Lady Redfeather a few times. I was impressed, but it was just a big statue of a winged lady that I knew nothing about. Then the as-damned thing took flight when the last Battlemancer ascended. It hovered over the garrison during the tournament and danced with its 6 swords. Now there's a work of art I can get behind. From Sergeant Killflare. Woohoo. I see the colors and me is like, oh, good toy point. Yeah, exactly. Like specifically the colors too. Like I know, like this blue here. First of all, it's a very nice blue. I like looking at it. Oh, buggy. Yes, this 200-foot tall bronze statue known as the Red Feather Monument usually stands watch over Wizard's Peak University, a few hundred feet up Wizard's Peak from the campus. Officially called the Crimson Quill statue, it is a 6-armed statue of a winged woman wielding 6 swords in a war dance. The bronze has been stained in a dark lacquer and has tattoos engraved on the arms and torso. The tattoos and eyes of the statue glow red with magical power. The monument was a gift to Wizard's Peak University from the Concordance for Survival. It was given in the year 3066 FA after the fall of the war against the Far Realm. It commemorates the Red Feather Battlemancers who perished on the Night of Black Feathers. On that night, Far Realm forces ambushed and assassinated most of the world's Battlemancers. The Red Feathers were destroyed as a fighting unit and not a factor in the rest of the Far War. Many think the statue is based on the image of the fallen Red Feather founder and leader, Callisto Redwing, but it isn't. The statue represents the 6 of Swords, the card of sorrow, change, and new growth. Its builders hoped that the monument would someday inspire a new generation of Red Feathers. That's very cool. The 6 of Swords, I remember your tarot deck that you made. Absolutely fantastic work of art. I love that. And yeah, so let's see. Founding date, 3066. Alternative names, Red Feather Statue. Monument, it's a statue. Ooh, I'm hovering things. And yes, so Red Feather Regalia is also linked here for anyone who wishes to read. The garb of the Red Feather Battlemaster, mightiest war mage in the world. And we have articles about the Red Feather Battlemancers as well. And down here, where you cannot see, the leader of the Red Feathers leads the Battlemasters in defense of the world. Wonderful, wonderful. And here we see some lovely, lovely artwork. I assume this is one of your recycled commissions, but it's still so cool to look at. Lady Redfeather takes flight. In the years after the Far War ended, the Quirinal Pit was barely under containment when the Orrery of Worlds was under construction. In 3084 FA, an abyssal incursion overwhelmed the Quirinal defenders, and the Concordants feared they would not be able to turn back the tide. The powerful warlock Melosa was desperate to help turn back the demonic horde, but she knew that her calling as a warlock made it unlikely that the Concordants would accept her help. She followed the voice of her patron, the Blade of Callisto, and it led her to Wizard's Peak and Lady Redfeather. Love the artist, the detail on it is amazing. Yes, it looks so nice. In fact, let's just go have a little look-see, shall we? Oh, yeah, like the tattoos and everything. It's very cool to look at. And that sword with little dancing orange. Ooh. Yeah, so this is super, super awesome. Yeah, isn't that fancy? Let me see if I can if I try to zoom in here, it's not gonna work. Aha! Big detail. Yeah, look at that. So cool. I love the way that they did the little jewelries and those details. Yeah, it looks absolutely badass. I love it. And the tattoos going all the way down. Very cool. Very, very awesome artwork right there. But yeah, there we go. The first dance. She climbed the peak on the paths not used by the wizards. Melosa knew they would not accept her, but she still had to do something. The voice of the blade did not use words, but it sang what it wanted into her heart. When she reached the base of the lady, she stretched the blade up into the sky and sang her song of fury. The mountain, the sky, and the statue itself began to sing along. She danced, and the mountain, the sky, and the statue danced with her. Red wings of fire bloomed on her back. She took flight as the mountain and sky screamed their approval. The red-feathered lady flew too. With the help of the blade, Melosa completed a ritual that bonded her to the monument. It mirrored her movements, and when Melosa took flight, the lady flew alongside her. With the gargantuan statue under her control, Melosa flew down to the zone and channeled her power through the bronze behemoth. The defenders rallied at the sight of red wings in the sky again. Taken completely by surprise, the abyssal forces broke and were forced back into the Quirinal Pit. The defenders and Lady Redfeather held them there until the manifest changed. Melosa earned the begrudging respect of the Concordants, and the reputation of warlocks began to heal. Whoa, I leave for 2 seconds, come back to an amazing piece of art. That'll happen on this stream. But yeah, there's some sweet art in this article. So for sure, go check it out. And the Dance of the Red Lady. As a reward for her help, Melosa was named the new Red Feather Battlemaster and given the responsibility of restarting the Red Feather Battlemancers. She succeeded in rebuilding the Order of War Mages and eventually ascended beyond the Divine Gate. With the Battlemaster gone, the Blade of Callisto returned to Lady Redfeather and hovered in front of her. The statue came to life again for the first time in decades and floated over the Wizard's Peak University. Through divination, the wizards discovered that a new Red Feather Battlemaster must be chosen, and the tradition of the Red Feather Tournament began. Here we have Lady Redfeather dances in the clouds. That's so cool. I love the idea of a statue just kind of coming to life and just dancing through the sky. Let's see. What grinds my gears? Inconsistent software, where one part you use a key combination and the next you cannot. Oh my gosh, yes, I experience that at work all the time because we kind of jump between a couple different softwares, and so I will try to like pan across a screen in one software, but I'll use the command for a different one, and then everything will just get messed up. So it's oopsie. When you use it, it generates a square because it can't understand the combination. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. That's how they keep us on our toes. Here we go. Once a new battle master has won the tournament, the final step is acceptance of Lady Redfeather. The dance of the Red Feathers begins with great pageantry, aerial displays of evocation magic, and a choreographed dance routine. It ends with a new battle master performing a solo kata in their chosen style, and the statue gives the Blade of Callisto to the new leader of the Battlemancers. Oh, why is scrolling, zooming, and panning different in all software? True, I know, right? It's always different. But then, the monument then returns to its place above Wizard's Peak University. It only animates at times of great peril to the world, or when a new battlemaster must be chosen. In times of peril, the battlemaster can cause the lady to mirror
Refresh
them,
yourselves.
but only if the spirit of the statue agrees with the cause. Sippy. Oh, I'm almost out of sippy. Oh no. This does not bode well. Ghosts in the monument. Through divination magic, mages and clerics have determined that the statue's animating force is not a single mind, but a gestalt of past Redfeather battlemancers. They theorized the trauma of the Night of Black Feathers fused parts of the souls of the dead mages together. Such a gestalt often turns into a malevolent ghost or other evil spirit. In this case, the mortal souls of the murdered warriors focused on the statue raised in their honor and became a benevolent force. Very nice. And that is the end of this article. What a wonderful read, and some wonderful art to look at. It's always a treat to see one of Kitoipoi's articles on my screen, across my life. Sometimes I forget how to use words, but it's okay because you're doing well enough for the both of us at the moment. Yeah, so this is a lovely, lovely article to read, and I take my after article sippy. And the mug is empty, which can only mean one thing. I need to go add more to my mug. So I will leave you here with my shelf of goodies. Gotta get me some sippy. Gotta get some sip to fill my cup. I'm causing no trouble while I'm out of my seat. Reloading mug, please wait. I really should have like a little screen that says that, shouldn't I? Just have a little transitions like currently reloading sip. And thank you for the sippy. First of the mug, and ooh, she cold because she's fresh out of the fridge. Oh, the previous mug had already like warmed up by the time I finished it. But alright. So that was the Red Feather Monument. And so we do indeed have Stormbrill. Stormbrill is next on our list. And here we go. Ooh, this is... If we're talking about CSS wizardry, this is where we are. Okay, Lion, two things. I love your Secret Lab chair and the design. I have a black and blue one and love the design of your top. Fancy clothes and stuff. Yes, so this is Dear Helen. Ooh. The words I failed to say. Is this gonna make me sad? Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is already... Like, look at this. Here's our letter. Well, let's start here. From Annabelle to Helen. Left behind, a dusty letter discovered in an empty apartment, months after the recipient's disappearance. It was found and retrieved by Legion intelligence agents working under the direction of Catabella Song, head of the ASCA misinformation campaign. She released the letter to the general public with the goal of both humanizing Dr. Annabelle Evingston and squashing any rumors of her involvement with the vanishing of her friend Helen. So here we go. Click on the envelope to read the letter. Oh. Read the document. Ooh. Ooh. This is so weird. This is so fun. Weird in the affectionate way. I love this. Yeah, Stormbrill you just kind of blow everything out of the water. This is so much fun. Alright. Dear Helen. I'm not entirely sure how to start this if I'm honest, but let's be real. We both know how I am. We both know what I struggle with, where I falter, and the only place I truly ever fail. Can you do that again? I can probably do that again. How do I get out of here? Okay, if we click on that, here we go. So we click on the envelope, it flips over, comes out, hovers up, and look, there's the document that we can read. Oh, I can do it myself, that is true. You can also just open the article yourself and just click as many times as your heart desires, but then you read this. Isn't this insane? I love this. Had so much fun making that. Yeah, I bet. Like, this is so cool. Don't you let my letter get you down. Kept double clicking and closing it. Yeah. Part of me hates the fact that I'm writing this letter. Like, what kind of useless sack of rendling shit can't tell her friend? Anyways, there's good news in here as well, I promise. Let me just get through this first. There's been a lot weighing on my mind recently about what we've done to get here, how we've climbed the Legion ranks and made the changes we've made, about what needs to be done to move forwards. I don't doubt the plan. I don't regret anything that I've done to get here either. I'd do it again. I'd probably even smile doing it, knowing that it's worth it in the end, that we're making a difference, Helen. We're the only ones that can do it. My plan is the only thing that'll truly make this world a better home for us. No, I don't regret any of that. Well, okay. There might be a tiny bit of regret. It's what I'm struggling to put into words right now. Oh, for the love of Heian, this is stupid. It'd be better if I could just talk to you. I'm sorry for pushing you into a lot of this. I can tell, you know, I can see your resistance, your unwillingness, your caution, your hesitation for half the things we do. It's so goddamn frustrating, but I appreciate it. Because I know without you slowing me down, in a good way, I swear, Heian, help me, I suck at this. I'd probably make a mistake somewhere along the way. It might not be that bad of a mistake, but there's also a chance that it'd really screw things up. That I'd screw things up. I'm so sure of myself, of my mission, and yet every once in a while a small part of me doubts myself, doubts that I can do it. Some days I feel like that part of me exists because you're in my life. Like, without you, I'd be doubt-free and unstoppable. Those days are rare, crossed out. Those days mean nothing and crossed out. Those are my bad days. Please believe me. Most days I know the only reason I can ignore that part of me is because I know you're watching my, I know I've got you watching my back, looking out for my mistakes, and slowing me down just enough to give me time to think about everything through its logical end. It's the way things should be. I guess what I'm truly trying to say is thank you for being my friend. I don't often show it, and I far too often take advantage of you, but I think it's important you know the appreciation is there. Even if outwardly I look frustrated or say stupid things, once you read this, I hope you'll know it's not really me talking when I say those awful things. That's just in the heat of the moment, Annabelle, not truly me. So truly, thank you. Oh, and that's not even the good news, by the way. Because, guess what, Helen? I've located it. I found what we've been looking for, the item that we've needed. Finally, all this research has paid off, and you'll never guess where the info was. I'll tell you when I see you, but till then, I'll give you a hint. The worst smelling room in the Comprolift. I've assembled a team right now. I wanted to tell you in person, but I'm far too busy. So this letter will have to do. The item, it's in a cave complex under Cade's Island of all places. I want you on the team, Helen. There's no one I trust more to go alongside and bring it back. You're the best at this, and I'm sorry, but you don't get a choice here. I'm asking you as your friend, but commanding you as your superior. Call me when you get this. We've got a world to change. Yours, Anna. And there we go. That was so... First of all, it was a lovely, lovely letter. And then also the CSS shenanigans that go behind creating something like this. Also amazing. Just, yes, chef's kiss. So many articles today were just beautiful. Amazing. I will drop a little like. And finally off work, heck yes. Yeah, this was so cool. So for anyone, once again, who has missed it, here you go. here's the little Linky Poo for dear Helen. And yeah, I have feelings, little feely feels. And I believe that leaves us with one more silver entry. Thank you, Line. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for submitting this. And our final
Refresh yourselves.
sippy time. I almost forgot this time. Ooh. Here we go. We have our final silver article of the day from Hanhula. Hanhula did so graciously volunteer herself to be last on the list so that other faces could get their articles shown first. And so this is much appreciated, but we do in fact have time to dive into Hanhula's article, Under the Sea. For anyone who's been receiving Hansa, for anyone who's been getting Hans notifications. They're very fun, very silly, but yes, we have an article from the one and only Hanhula today. Just absolutely under the sea, under the sea. Ocean fearless beast as she is. I'm trying to do too much here. No. The ocean, fearless beast as she is, and her fathomless depths that fair brim with mystery. So we have here an ocean. My deep sea chocolate crab is under the sea in the first sentence. Yes, this is a song that's just like stuck in everyone's head now because of Han. But yes, we have another little warning here. Warning, this article deals with deep sea topics and imagery. So if you simply cannot do such topics, this is a good time to maybe divert your attentions elsewhere. But here we go. We'll see how much there is in this article. And we will just proceed. And I also love the way in Hanhula's CSS we have little zoomies for images. So if you hover over it, you get a little expand. The warning is not the same as the not safe for work flag. No, this is like a completely separate thing. This is it's more just like a courtesy content warning to be like, okay, if you don't like this kind of topic, maybe don't look. Yeah, not safe for work is like, yeah, like it's for like inappropriate stuff, like stuff that, you know, shouldn't be just kind of like brazenly thrown into the public. Content warnings are for like personal icks and phobias and, you know, anything like that that is okay to put out into the world. Just, yeah, thalassophobia basically. So like if you are terrified of the ocean and topics surrounding it, you know, this is Han's warning to be like, hey, this is what the article's about. If you don't like this kind of stuff, maybe go somewhere else. Because you're probably not gonna have a good time. And so it's like a little courtesy thing, essentially, to help other people curate their own reading experience. But because there is a content warning does not mean that the article itself is not safe for work, for example. Yes, the not safe for work flag like is like a whole section of settings and things that like hide your article from other like people and groups. Basically, like, without confirmation, like, do you want to see not safe for work stuff? Okay, here you go. But here we go, we are reading about the Luari Ocean. The Luari Ocean is Istralar's largest ocean, stretching from the eastern reaches of Shinjiu and Takawaoku, all the way to Iskaldhal and the storm-hidden shores of Kudara. Its depths have given rise to legendary heroes and birthed the most terrifying of monsters, and hold untold treasures alongside countless watery graves. The ocean has had many names over its time, and some cultures prefer instead consider it to be comprised of two smaller oceans, divided by the planet's equator. Man, I need to learn how to breathe properly when I read things out loud, because I'm just like I used not safe for work on an article last year and it seemed no one saw it. Yeah, it tends to, I think, limit some visibility of your articles when you use it. Because you also, if an article is marked not safe for work, you need to be logged in to see it, I believe. So you're not going to get views from anyone who's not logged in, for example. And also anyone who happens to have like not safe for work stuff turned off, you're also not going to see it. You know that feeling, no breath, only words. Oh, I'm bad at breathing anyway. I have like that ADHD thing where I just like stop breathing for a while until I notice, and suddenly I just like deep inhale. Just a oopsie poopsie. I'll just sit there forgetting that I'm a human with like human needs. Who would have thought, right? I guess in theory I'm more of a creature, but that's semantics at this point. Here we go. Aside from the common North Luari Ocean and South Luari Ocean monikers, one of the more interesting names for the split ocean system is to name it after the dragons of the sun and moon, Lutusi and Sinaske. In these cases, the ocean becomes the Lutari and Sinari oceans. The split derives from the fact that when it is day on one side of the ocean, it shall be night in the other, and is assumed to be propagated by the Istralar's draconic populace. We have this lovely little ocean view right here. Scroll up and down to see it, because I'm kind of hovering over half of it. Yes, geography. Endless expanses of everlasting blue. The Luari Ocean is a vast and vibrant body of water, its geography changing wildly from one area to the next as the ocean's bathymetry shifts. Woohoo, fun word. Close to land, where the shelf provided by the planet's 5 great continents and frozen caps provides support, the structures are most vivid and varied. These are where coral reefs and shipwrecks most commonly rest, forming shelters amidst rocky structures for marine life. As one heads away from the continental shelves and into open ocean, the steep descent down the continental slope leads away from the epipelagic zone, the 200 meters of water where sunlight is most present, into the depths of the mesopelagic zone, then further to much deeper depths. The lowest point of the Luari Ocean is within the abyssal trench, and indeed is considered to be the deepest depth known to be accessible on Istralar. So deep, in fact, that none have survived the descent. It is rumored that Kyopelinvuori, me sounding things out, Kyopelinvuori, I'm hoping that's correct, leads the stars above. The abyssal trench instead leads to the abyss, hence its name. Iskald Hall's mountainous nature is reflected in the rough mountainous nature of the northeastern areas of the Luari, as the continental slope is interrupted by a series of mountains and undersea volcanoes. The ridge continues down from its northeastern vantage point and curls around to the southern ice cap, binding the two together. We have a little look at this ruins image. Woohoo. Over the years, mortals and gods have scarred even the depths of Luari. In many places, and especially in the west, the ocean's abyssal plains are disrupted by a series of unnatural spires and craters where once gods fought their battles. Around the equator and off the coast of the Suari wilderness lies the worst of this magical carnage. A grand volcano still spews corrupted magic into the oceans, alone where no volcano should be. It lies unnamed, for it is said to be a bringer of bad luck to even think about it, and Vexua has since laid claim. Mortal wars and travel too have littered mortal kind's presence throughout the ocean. Grand ruins and shipwrecks are strewn throughout the vast sea, offering habitat to marine life. Some ruins merely appear to be so, even, and are in fact grander dwellings for the ocean's more dangerous residents. These, however, keep their presence very quiet. Let's see, oceanic travel. Over the years, mortal kind have found many ways of traversing the treacherous waves and depths of Luari and Istralar's other oceans. Some favorites include merchant galleys and magic-powered airships to sail over the surface, and enchanted chariots that brave the depths. Few are brave enough to seek the darker depths of the ocean. Even with magic, the high pressure and dangerous conditions make the trip nigh impossible. Those who succeed carry with them the blessing of the gods or the knowledge of thousands. Ooh. Climate. It's wet. Self-claimed oceanographer and climatologist, age 6. Oh my goodness. It sure is wet. But then this poses the question, like the age-old question, is water wet? Some would argue no. Well, it's definitely wet. It certainly is. The water is not wet, but everything in the water is. Or is it not wet but submerged? If something is fully submerged, is it wet? So what exactly does it mean to be wet versus submerged? There are so many discussions to be had on this topic. We certainly haven't the time to explore this right now. But here is this excellent image. These little fishy eyes. Everything touched by water is wet, but in the ocean, water is touched by water. Dang, that is true. But if we go into the fauna and flora, well, there's the fish, and the microbial life, and the fish, and the people, though I still don't know why, and the fish, and the horrifying sea monsters that might be planning to take over the planet. Did I mention the fish? Oceanographer. If something is hydrophobic, it can be submerged but not wet. Oh, that is true. That is true. This quote here. What the fuck do you mean Leviathan isn't a myth? Quote from a panicked Capitan. Luari is an immense body of water. Cataloging the sheer variety of life teeming within is an impossible task, though some try regardless. As mentioned above, coral formations, shipwrecks, reefs, and even corpses of other creatures provide habitats for a wide variety of life in the highest reaches of the ocean where the sun can still reach. Larger creatures such as whales and dolphins are not uncommon, but regularly interact with sapient life that dwells within. In the darker depths, bioluminescent species and those uniquely adapted to high-pressure environments thrive with their silent, cutthroat wars. But these are not the sapient and largely mundane creatures. When one considers the magical inhabitants of the sea, the waters seem far more ominous. Sapient beings like the Tritons and the Caecilia build immense cities and nations, the largest and most known of which are the Laminales. Many nations, in fact, remain completely unknown in the eyes of surface-dwelling species. Their lives are alien and unmistakable, characterized by their unique undersea magics and technology, and it is only in the remnants of what washes up on shore or is captured in the odd fisherman's net or a successful scry that gives insight into the subaquatic world. Threats, however, are far more prevalent in the deep. It is not merely dragons that those who dwell in the depths must watch for, but sea serpents, a gull-through, and other faceless serpentine beasts. They hold equal or greater intelligence to many of the other sapient beings that walk Istralar's surface, and out of sight, many bide their time for their perfect opportunity to act. There are many who claim to own the ocean. They forget that she is her own master, as wild as the salt spray and as unfathomable as the depths. They'll remember in time. They always do. The avatar of Luari Ocean. Ooh. So the Avatar are deific figures born from mortal wills and lay magic. Avatars represent the life and soul of the land. Ooh. It's a lot of fun. And of course, we have Final Fantasy XIV OST as a little music of the depths. Tempest is absolutely banger of a track. Absolutely. Go listen to some Final Fantasy XIV music. Oh. Hello, Breathing One is the title of this image. Oh, need to get my cursor off the screen. There you go. Very fun. I imagine those are some terrifying eyes watching you in the depths. But that concludes this article. It actually wasn't as long as I thought it would be. As long as I thought it would be. Yeah, and that is why I don't go near the deep sea. Exactly. Or else this thing will just look at ya. It'll try its best. Also, a cool thing Han pointed out to me is that I didn't catch at first. The page gets darker the further down you go. What? Oh my god, it does. Bruh. That's so fun. You need to play Subnautica. Oh gosh. But here you go. Here is the link once again. Absolutely go check this out on your own time. Have some fun scrolling through the page to see it get darker. It's very subtle, but it does do it. I mean, I don't go near it in the real life, yeah. Oh, it's spooky. Everything else is fine. Yeah, it is fine, but it is also concerning. And let's see. So that concludes all of our readings for today. So very fun, very cool. We had a lot of very fantastic articles that were on our little collection today. I'm wondering, it's not quite time to wrap up just yet. So I'm actually thinking we have one more article that happened to be on my list. It got sent to me. It was not for silver, but if we have a couple more minutes, who's to say we can't read a copper prompt? Oh. No, this is another one. It's another one from another person. So you know what? Yeah, we'll give this one a little read before we go. This one is for the material that fuels something prompt from last week. And there goes Moobot drowning me out just right there. And so this is the Eternal Flame from E-Belt. Wait, I saw that. Woohoo. So yes, here it is, the Eternal Flame, Dragon's Breath. And so, the importance. The Eternal Flame is one of the most sought-after things, particularly in Draconis' early human years. The people who had this fire were well-rested and healthy because no one had to stay up tending to the fire. It would stay burning through the icy cold winters and would survive hours of torrential downpour. The people who didn't have this fire suffered, many of them tired because of late nights tending to a fire, making sure it was hot enough to keep the people warm throughout the night. They often moved from place to place, trying to find a dry place to stay, only to find a place and use up precious time and energy looking for food. The Eternal Flame was a necessity that everyone needed, but not everyone could have. Characteristics. The Eternal Flame is a fire that burns consistently through... Okay, I had to check that I posted the link. I already forgotten the 30 seconds. The Eternal Flame is a fire that burns consistently through, supposedly, anything. It has all the regular characteristics of fire, but is one of the rarest elements in Draconis. However, throughout the history records, people have said that it seemed to have a life of its own. Burning slowly sometimes, but faster others, it was said to leap from fire source to fire source, but the Eternal Flame is so rare nowadays that there's nearly no way to prove that such things happened. The battles. The amount of battles over the Eternal Flame are innumerable. However, there were 3 battles that no one could ever forget, despite them happening years upon years ago. The first battle. This was the first battle recorded among mankind. Translated, it's called the Battle at Hell's Gate. Blue Tiger, thank you for following. Welcome, welcome. One side had the fire, the others didn't, and winter was only 2 months away. Each side was on equal footing. One had better weapons, better organization, but less people. The other had more people and the fire. However, they had very good weapons and very poor tactical. They had very few good weapons and very poor tactical skill. It was a bloody mess, and no one won. By the end of it, the fire had been put out, but no one knew how. No one had even touched it since the call to arms. But with the fire out, and both sides having lost too many men, the battle ended. Oh, Jadumzi, a pretty place. The second battle. This battle was much more personal, among 2 brothers who had both created settlements. However, instead of being a battle of might and strength, this was a battle of wits and intellect, fittingly called the Battle of 2 Intellectual Titans. Both brothers were young, prideful, and competitive. Instead of coming together and trying to help each other, they turned against each other, attempting to find the Eternal Flame before the other. Each brother left their settlement and went through Draconis hunting the legendary Eternal Flame, but neither brother succeeded and both their settlements died before either of them could return. The third battle. This was the last battle in a year-long war. Each side had been even until this point. However, the idea of spies were growing more and more popular. Paranoia was everywhere, and no one could trust anyone. The leaders made decisions without anyone's input. Generals sent their soldiers to battle when no one knew the goal. The soldiers didn't trust their fellow men, and any sign of camaraderie had disappeared. It was in this last battle when the Eternal Flame made an appearance, as it was launched into the sky and burned the entire enemy camp. To anyone during the battle, it would have been obvious who had launched the fire, but instead the people turned to each other and declared that they, their fellow soldiers, were the ones behind the attack. The eternal flame was said to have bounced from enemy tent to enemy tent, destroying everything. The people who had launched the flame descended upon the enemy and killed them all. The victorious general sent a message back to the king telling him of his victory, and that he would be arriving back at the capital soon. However, history says that the general and his men never made it back. Legend has it the flame burned him and his men alive. Every single one of them. Dang. Alright, yes, this is eternal flame. Battles have been fought to claim this fire, but none of them really seem to be all that successful. Some lost the fire, some lost their lives, some lost everything in the search for it. So yes, a wonderful, very cool article to end our little reading session on. There's the link again, in case anyone missed it. And now we return to just me as we kind of start wrapping up our little stream here. I hope everyone enjoyed all of these articles. I know I did. I love getting to sit down and actually read articles from the community. I feel like it's not something I get to do often enough. And of course, as my notifications are piling up, I'm not without content to read. I'm more just without the time to do so. And so that's why I've carved out these Feral Fridays to come on here, read these articles, and share them with everyone else. I think that these cool pieces of world building, these little snippets of different people's different worlds, and I think they deserve to be shared with everybody. Thank you, Strix. You're a very kind and wonderful person. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I do. I just have a lot of love for this community, and I want to share it with as many people as possible. And I know that I know a lot of people are very nervous about, putting their work out there. So anyone who has submitted work to me, like, you've done a very brave thing. Having your work read out loud on stream for other people to experience, like, it's nerve-wracking. Like, even when my articles get read, I'm like sweating, just like sitting there like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But yeah, so it is a delight to be able to not only take in this content myself, but share it with everyone else as well. And yeah, just seeing all the different ideas and all the inspiration from this. If anyone is stuck on any of the prompts that these articles are for, then, hopefully you've gotten some inspiration from them. Thanks to the reads, I've trimmed my notifications quite a bit this way. Good. Wonderful. Yeah, I'll have to go look through my notifications too and see how many of these are on there. I was really nervous about the first few months on WorldAnvil, then I discovered the rest of the folks, and, well, apparently I fit in here. Heck yeah, this is just a place for nerds to be. And I think now we are finished with our little streamy stream, and I would like to send all of you over to... I would like to send you over to WorldAnvil. I think that's a good place for us to all go. I believe, what are we doing today? Do some writing sprints. So if you have some work to catch up on, some articles that you still need to make, I will be glad to send you on over there to get some productivity going. I think that's the perfect way to end this stream. Bird raid. Yes, it is time for bird raid. That is my little raid call. So if you pop in there, just type out bird raid. Let everyone know where you're coming from. Although, it's really like I took all of you from the WorldAnvil community, held on to you for a little bit, and now I'm giving you back. So yes, doing some writing sprints. It's gonna be Ondo and Kat on this writing sprint stream, so yes, I look forward to sending you there. Unfortunately, I think we might have missed the Bois already. Maybe, which is really sad. I'm sorry to have kept that from you. But it was wonderful having all of you. Thank you everyone who tuned in, stopped by, gave me sippies. Everyone, grab your sippies and go world build. I will see you guys very soon, maybe tomorrow even, after prompts are released. I will be going right back into brainstorming and prompt writing. So yes, I'm gently handing you back over. So yes, grab your sippies, go world build, raid call is bird raid. I will see you guys later. Wonderful, goodbye.